October 10th in the village of Hidden in the Leaf Point, 2 children are due to be born today, a girl and a boy from Minato the 4th Hokage and Kushina the Bloody Habanero. In the cave behind Konoha, Kushina is currently undergoing childbirth, which is taken by Sarutobi Sawako, the wife of the 3rd Hokage, and Minato Namikaze is nearby, who looks after the seal and supports the seal of the demon fox. A red-haired woman was writhing on the delivery table, screaming and sobbing. After a long time, 2 babies were born. The first was red-haired, and the second was a blandish boy who had 3 stripes on each cheek. Both had blue eyes. While Minato was holding back the seal, the mother was looking at her children. A scream distracted them from this case and they stared at the masked stranger who appeared in the cave, and Umbu and Bivako were lying next to him, and after a couple of seconds the newly born girl appeared in the hands of the masked stranger. Rinnegan was burning in his eyes. "Get away from the Jinchuriki, or I will kill the child," the stranger said, and put a kunai to the girl. "Give me the baby," Minato shouted. "Give me the Jinchuriki," the stranger said in a calm voice. "Kushina, hold out a little," Minato said, and rushed at the stranger. The stranger threw the child and framed kunai, but the child did not have time to fly as Minato grabbed the child and teleported home with the children. This time, the masochist pulled Kyuubi out of Kushina and a fox towered behind the village, which he subdued. When many residents and shinobi heard the roar, they looked beyond the village behind which the fox towered, and Rinnegan burned in his eyes. Everyone was scared and began to run to shelters, and the shinobi led by Hiruzen went to restrain him. The fox was quickly heading to the village. When the shinobi reached the fox, he was already in the village, which is not on 1/4. Hiruzen called Enma and he turned into a staff and they began to drive away the fox. Minato, when I showed up at home, he put the kids to bed and went to get Kushina. When he teleported into the cave, he saw an exhausted Kushina and the seal was broken. "Kushina, where is that guy in the mask?" I asked. "That he left taking the fox." "Where are our children?" Kushina asked in a hoarse voice. "They are at home," Minato said, and moved Kushina home and put her next to the children, and heard roars and tremors. I teleported to the Hokage mountain to which Baijidama was flying. I opened the seals and symbols appeared in which Baijidama flew, and the technique absorbed her. At the same moment, a masochist attacked me with a raised kunai, but I managed to dodge and counterattack with a punch in the stomach, but he was repelled. "Who are you?" I asked. "While we were fighting." "You don't need to know that," he said, hitting me in the stomach. Because of this, I flew away. I scattered kunai around him, but he used Shinro Tensei, and the kunai scattered. I attacked in taijutsu, and while we were fighting, I realized the recharge of his technique. I threw kunai at him, but they flew away. I quickly threw 2 kunai into the air. They touched each other and the kunai, soaked in lightning, went to the masochnik. He did not notice the marks on the kunai. I created a Rasengan and teleported to the kunai from behind him and hit him on the back, and he fell face down. Because of this, his mask split and stuck to him. "Nagato. You're Nagato?" Minato asked incredulously because he thought Nagato was dead, but he didn't answer anything. He took out a scroll and stood on it and disappeared in a white haze. After that, I went to get Kubi. I called Gamabunta and told him to detain him while I went to Kushina myself. Having appeared at home, I wanted to take the child, but Kushina stopped me. "Why do you need Naruko?" "Naruko girl, Menma boy," Kushina asked. "We need to seal the Kyuubi into her more uzumaki genes she can handle," Minato said reluctantly. "You want to ruin her life? Do you even think what you're doing?" Kushina said, looking at Minato angrily and hugging the child to her. "I need to protect the village. No one else can take out the Kyuubi." I said okay, Kushina said, reluctantly giving Naruko away. "Will you help me contain him?" I said. Kushina nodded and we exchanged glances with the fox. "Kushina, detain him with chains," I said. Kushina did so, but her chains were collapsing quickly from exhaustion. I quickly called the altar and put Naruko there and began to fold the seals for the summoning of the god of death. But Hiruzen stopped me. "Minato, I'm not holding anything here myself, and you take care of the village," Hiruzen said. "Good," Minato said. After a moment's thought, Hiruzen began to fold the seals and called Shinigami, who sealed the full Kyuubi in Naruko and died himself. Naruko began to cry and her hair began to turn white and the chakra began to rage, but soon calmed down. Minato was afraid that the seal was greatly weakened and Kubi would be able to capture Naruko's mind. He decided to go to the shelter and give her the surname Uzumaki and tell Kushina that Naruko could not stand the power of Kubi. Today is October 10th. A girl of 6 years old is walking along a dark street. It was Naruko with white hair, bright snow white, that are hidden in a hood, and a mask is on her face, like Kakashi's. She was dressed all in black. Now she didn't want to see anyone and walked through the dark streets. All the time she was beaten half to death, and on October 10th, on her birthday, they tried to kill her. They even tried to drown her once. Because of all this, she often has nightmares. While she was walking around there was no one when she almost reached home, and she had to go through the alley, but accidentally ran into heavily drunk shinobi. When they collided, Naruko fell and the hood fell off her, and the Chunins noticed her. Oh, sorry. The first wanted to apologize, but when he looked closely, he was angry. Is this really our Demoness? Guys, let's teach her a lesson. When others looked closely, they found out. Oh, really? Come on, said another two. Endino, please don't touch me. Naruko begged. You killed my whole family, said the one. He took her by the hair and dragged her into the alley, and with a sharp blow to the stomach sent her into the wall with all his strength, and when she flew into the wall she coughed up blood. They started beating her. Because of this, she broke 2 ribs in her nose. After one of them, who was the drunkest, took out a knife and inflicted 2 stab wounds in the stomach. And when he wanted to inflict the third, his intoxication greatly affected him and he got wet by stabbing her in the left eye, and she lost consciousness. All this time the girl was screaming very loudly and the others were just laughing, and when they saw that he had inflicted stab wounds, they tried to delay him. Hey, what did you kill her for? Said the 2. Nd. She has a weak pulse, said the 3. Rd. Damn, they'll send us to prison. We need to throw out the body, said the 1. St. After that, they went to a small cliff and threw it into the river, which took Naruko away. Naruko woke up in a sewer in front of a huge cage. Is anyone here? Naruko asked, feeling terrifying energy. Is this my jailer? Said someone in the cage from where 2 red eyes looked out. Who are you? Naruko asked, cracking a little with fear. I am the great demon fox Kubi no Yoko, said the fox coming out of the darkness and showing himself. Naruko examined him completely and was delighted, and Kubi noticed it. Aren't you afraid of me? Kubi asked. Of course not. You're so cute, beautiful and fluffy, Naruko said with an admiring look. Kubi fell into a sediment from being called cute. And what's your name and let's be friends? Naruko asked. The fox didn't even know what to say, because for the first time they want to make friends with him, not counting Hagoromo. Maybe this is the child from the prophecy. Kubi thought to himself. My name is Kurama and I agree to be friends. Kurama said it's a beautiful name. Naruko said of course they are beautiful. Kurama rocks proudly, raising his head and tails. Listen, can I touch you? Naruko said of course, said Ku, and abruptly a small hurricane attacked him, which lay on the fox's paw. And you're soft. By the way, what is this place? Naruko asked. It's your subconscious, said the fox. It's clear what's wrong with me in the real world. Naruko asked. Someone is treating you there and it seems to be Uchiha, Ku said angrily. I see, thank you, said Naruko, who moved to the fox's muzzle. Nazakto, imagine how you come out of the subconscious, said the fox. He sat in the lotus position and came out of the subconscious. Minato sat in his office and thought, maybe I shouldn't have taken Naruko to a shelter. For 6 years there were no surges of chakra. Only if Kubi treated her, maybe he could tell her. Umbu in a dog mask appeared in the office, distracted me from my thoughts. Hokage Jinchuriki herself disappeared, most likely already dead. We found a bunch of traces of blood. After that Minato fell into a stupor. Who did this? Minato asked angrily. It was done by drunken Chunins. They are already in the interrogation room at Ibika. Umbu said. Rat, boar, said Minato, and the front appeared named. Yes, Hokage-sama, Umbu said, a little afraid because an evil aura emanated from Minato. Where were you when the Jinchuriki were being killed? Minato said. We moved away when she was approaching the apartment. One of them said, bring Inoichi. I said to Umbu in a dog mask and he disappeared, and Inoichi came after 15 minutes. Yes, Hokage-sama, Inoichi said. Check if these two were guarded by Jinchuriki. Minato said, pointing to 2 okay, he said, and he got into their brain and came out 15 minutes later. Hokage-sama. They didn't follow Jinchuriki and gave weapons to people to beat her, Inoichi said, glancing angrily at how dare you, Minato shouted and hit the table with all his might, causing it to fly apart, and the shuddered. Take them to Ibiki, and send a reconnaissance squad to search for her. Hi, said the dog and disappeared. What kind of father am I? Abandoned my daughter. I thought to myself when I got home everyone was there and was drooping. Dad, is something wrong? Ami and Miko, his daughters, ask it. It's nothing, I waved off. Kushin needs to be seriously spoken. All right, children, go to your rooms, Kushina said, and put up a barrier against listening. After I told her everything, and she started crying and beat me badly. Obito. Now I was resting from Madara's training, looking at the sky near the river. While I was sitting in the river, a small body swam by and I noticed it. Hey, you're okay, I said, feeling for a pulse and examining the body. I quickly ran into the cave to Madara. Madara needs to help her, she won't live long, I said when I entered the cave. It's the Jinchuriki, quickly put it on the table, Madara said, approaching the girl who was already lying on the table and began to hold the green chakra. Having more or less healed his wounds, he turned to me. She will live, she needs to get some sleep, Madara said. Phew, thank God. By the way, she looks very much like Kakashi, even wears a mask like that, I said and grinned. A few hours later, she began to wake up. Naruto. When I woke up, my body was a little sore and I looked around. I was lying on some kind of bed and some guy was lying at my feet. I decided to wake him up and he woke up. Oh hi, you finally woke up. What's your name? Obito said. Hi, I'm Naruto Uzumaki, and what about you? And did you save me? Asked Naruto, a little incredulous. My name is Obito Uchiha, and yes, I saved you, said Obito. He looks like in the canon. Why did you save me? I asked. That I love helping people. By the way, why were you in such a state? Obito asked. They call me a demon in the village and constantly beat me, and they try to kill my birthday on October 10th. Last time they tried to drown me, I said in a drooping voice, and Obito hugged my chest, which made me blush a little. Now no one will touch you, said Obito, stroking his head. I cried a little. Thank you, I said, calming down, and he let me go. At this time, Madara entered. Oh, I see you're awake, nothing hurts, Madara asked. My body aches a little, but what is your name? I asked. Madara. I am Madara Uchiha. And what about you? Madara asked, smiling with the corners of his lips. Madara, I hate, Ku raged in the subconscious, because of which I grabbed my head. Are you okay? Obito asked. Yes, it's all right, I'm Uzumaki Naruto, I said, looking at Madara. Nice to meet you. Do you know that you are Jinchuriki? Madara asked. Yes, I know, and now this rug is raging for some reason, I said, and Obito and Madara laughed. Who did you call a rug, huh? Kurama asked angrily. Calm down, I said to Naruto. Can I talk to the fox? Madara said, still chuckling a little. I asked Ku and got a positive answer. Yes, you can, I said to Madara, and he activated the Sharingan and got into the subconscious. What do you need, Madara? Have you come to subdue again? Said Ku, and Madara bowed his head, to which Ku was surprised. Please forgive me, I did wrong to you, Madara said. And Ku fell into a stupor. Ku sensed no lies or malice in him. Okay, I forgive you, but in exchange you will not harm my Jinchuriki, said Ku. I promise. Well, are you friends with me? Madara asked. And so what? Said Ku. Okay, thanks for forgiving me, Madara said, and came out of his subconscious. Naruto, do you want to become strong? Madara asked when he came out of his subconscious. Of course, Naruto said. Okay, we'll start tomorrow. By the way, you can take off the mask, Madara said, and left. And I took off the mask and a cute face appeared there. And you're beautiful, Obito said, looking at my face, which turned red. Thank you, I said. Okay, get some sleep, you need to recover, and was about to leave, but he was stopped by pulling on his sleeve. Oh, you can lie down with me, I'm tormented by cauchemars, I said, hesitantly embarrassed. Okay, Obito said, lying down with me, and I leaned back into his chest a little embarrassed. The next day that I woke up more or less calmly without throwing myself into a cold sweat. Get up, we need to start training, Obito said. Okay, I said, and we left the cave. and went to the landfill. Hello Madara, we both said hey. Are you ready? Asked Madara. 100%, I said okay. Now run 10 laps, do 50 push-ups and sit-ups, 3 sets each, and then we'll find the chakra, Madara said, and somehow I didn't want to, but I started doing it and after 2 hours I finished it. I'm done, I said, approaching Madara. Well done. Now sit in the lotus position and try to feel the light in your stomach, said Madara. I sat in the lotus position and after 2 hours I felt the chakra. I am done, I said, and Obito choked. How is everyone? Many geniuses spend a week or more, said Obito, arriving in shock, and even Madara a little. Okay, now try to disperse the chakra through the channels for about 2 hours, said Madara, and after 2 hours I was squeezed out like a lemon and went to the cave where we had breakfast. Madara, can I ask you a question? I asked when we had eaten. Yes. Which one? Madara asked. The story says that you betrayed Konoha and died in battle with Hashirama. I asked that I betrayed not Konoha but the clan and wanted to destroy it, but Hashirama stopped me. My clan killed my brother Izuna. I didn't die because I used Izanami's Sharingan ability and was able to survive. Soon I transplanted Hashirama cells to myself. Because of this I was able to live for a long time. After I went on a trip where I met Zetsu. He offered to make eternal Tsukuyomi and I agreed, and soon found small children from the village of Rain and instilled my plans. Also gave Nagato Rinnegan. Soon I decided to live peacefully and refused eternal Tsukuyomi and tried to dissuade, but he did not listen to me. Soon I found Obito and cured him somehow, Madara said, and I was in shock. Horsho, thank you for telling me, I said, and went up to Madara and hugged him. You've been through a lot. I'm sorry for you. Thank you, Madara said, also hugging. Okay, it's time to go to bed, said Obito, who appeared. Okay, I said, and we went to bed. It's been 5. During this time I was at the level of a weak Chunin. I had 3 elements. Lightning was white, water and wind. After 3 years, I had a Sharingan transplanted into my left eye, and while I was training, I received 3 volumes and with them I became at the level of a strong Chunin. The Sharingan could not be deactivated. Because of this, I put a seal on the eye and opened at the command Sharingan outwardly, almost unchanged, only the hair grows strongly to the knees. Often in the company of Obito, I felt warm and my heart was constantly beating, and Kurama said that I fell in love, but I refused to admit it. Now we are standing at the training ground. Naruto, we have taught you a lot, so you are going to the free draft. Madara said. What seals do I need to fold? I asked, and Madara began to show the seals. Isn't that too dangerous? Obito asked. Worried I can handle it, I said, and Madara just nodded. Okay. We'll miss you, Obito said, and came up and patted his head. Good luck. Madara Sadie began to fold the seals of the callback, bit my finger, and hit the ground, and I disappeared into the haze. I hope she will be all right, Obito said, and went into the cave with Madara. I appeared in the forest and the wolves ran up to me. Who are you? Asked the one. Uzumaki. Naruto, I came to sign a draft contract, I said. Well, follow us, said the wolf. We walked for 5 minutes and came out to some settlement where there were wolves. Everyone stared at me. Soon we came to a large cave where wolves were standing at the entrance. Going inside, I looked around. It was a bright cave with about 10 wolves in it, one of which was 5 meters tall. Kuro-sama, this is Naruto Uzumaki. She arrived to sign the contract, said the wolf, and the named one examined me. Hi Naruto, I'm Kuro, the leader of the wolves. Kuro said. Nice to meet you. Can I sign a contract with you? I asked with a slight bow. Of course you can. We will also teach you senjutsu and a special fighting style with and without a katana, Kuro said, and called the Snow White Wolf. Naruto, this is your main call, he said, and gave me a scroll with an appeal. Sign it. Okay, I said, and signed the contract in blood, and the inscription, Kahaku, appeared on the back of my right hand. I examined the inscription. This is my name, mistress, said the wolf, bowing his head. You can just hand it and you can without bowing, I said, and the wolf raised his head. Kahaku, take her to the training ground. You will be her coach, Kuro said, and we headed to the training ground. Naruto, first we will learn fighting styles and we will teach senjutsu in 2 years. By the way, time goes differently here. 4 years is 1.5 in your world, Kahaku said. Okay, I said, and we started training. It took 4 years to train. I learned the style of taijutsu and kenjutsu and senjutsu, which took 1.5 years, acting on the regime of the Hermit of Wolves. I grow white ears and a fluffy white tail, and white pigmentation appears around my eyes. My hearing, nose, and sense of danger sharpened that I did not master kenjutsu in. The ideal, it remains only to hone and learn paraprim. Taijutsu remains only to hone. Soon I became interested in who my parents were, and when Kurama told me who they were, she drooped a lot and Ku tried to comfort her, and it came out that I haven't changed so much in recent years. I cut my hair and left it at knees, chest grew to 2.5 sizes, and for my age I had an ideal figure. Muscles were visible but in moderation. Today is the day I was sent home, and I came to Kuro. Hello Kuro, I'm going home today, I said, and the wolf somehow drooped. It's a pity you're leaving, at least sometimes look in on us, it's boring without you. Kuro Sadie started to fold the seals and hit the ground with my hand and disappeared into a white haze. Madara and Obito, these year and a half were more boring. We both missed Naruko because we didn't know what was going on with her. Madara, what do you think when she comes? It's kind of sad without her. Obito Sadie's it true, you constantly think about Naruko. Did you fall in love / Madara said in a sarcastic voice. No, what are you saying? Obito said, blushing a little, and Madara laughed a little. You can't fool me, she likes you too, so don't miss the chance when she comes back. Madara said. It's true, said Obito, blushing a little, because he also loved Naruko, but he decided to wait until she turned 13 and admit to Aries. She constantly looks at you with a gentle look, said Madara. Thanks, I'll try, Obito said. A week has passed now. We are sitting at the table and having lunch, and a white cloud appears next to us, and we took up fighting positions from it. A white-haired girl appeared wearing a black tight sweater and brown trousers. On her feet were black shinobi sandals. Naruko. When I used the callback, I appeared in the kitchen and I was covered in smoke, and when it dissipated, I saw Madara and Obito on alert. Hello everyone, I'm back, I said, and they began to look at me. Naruko? Obito asked. Yes, it's me, she said with a smile as a friend hugged me, and I blushed deeply. Ivy missed you, Obito said. Obito, don't hug me so hard, I said, blushing deeply, and when Obito noticed this, he also blushed and turned his head away. I am sorry, Obito said, and Madara laughed softly. I was right after all, Madara said, and we looked at him in bewilderment. What does it mean? I asked. There's nothing, Madara said, waving away the answer. Okay, hello Madara, I said, and hugged him. Too glad to see you again. Sit down at the table, Madara said, and when we sat down at the table, Naruko, tell me what happened to you in the world of summoning. Madara said. Well, in general, I started the story of how I trained, what I did, and told who my parents were. Obito was shocked because he believed that Sensei was a good person. Yeah, I'm sorry about my parents, I didn't know Sensei was capable of this, Obito said. Come on, it's all right, I said with a smile. Okay, we need to sleep tomorrow. We'll have a sparring match, Obito said, and went to his room. In the morning I didn't want to wake up, and Obito came to wake me up. Naruko, wake up, sparring is coming soon, Obito said, tugging at his hand, but I didn't want to wake up and he didn't stop. Obito, I want to sleep, I said, and abruptly pulled back the hand that Obito was holding tightly, and he couldn't resist and fell on me, involving me in a kiss, and one hand was on my chest and I was barefoot between my legs. When he fell I was in shock and didn't immediately understand what was happening, and when I moved, he noticed this and wanted to get up. Because of this, he slightly crushed his chest and touched between his legs, which caused a soft moan to be heard. Sorry, it's my fault, Obito said, blushing deeply. No, it's my fault I pulled you, I said, blushing too and turning away. You go to the kitchen for breakfast soon, he said, and looked at me, blushing a little more, and get dressed. After that, he came out. I looked at myself. I was wearing a long t-shirt that almost reaches my knees and short shorts, and because he fell, he almost pulled off the t-shirt and the whole stomach was visible and the chest was almost visible. When I noticed this, I blushed and started changing clothes. After changing my clothes, I went to the kitchen where Obito and Madara were sitting. Hi, I said, and when I looked at Obito, I blushed a little. Did something happen between you? Madara asked when I sat down next to him. No. We said together with Obito. Really? Madara said. That's right, I said, blushing a little. Okay, bon appetit, we said together when we had eaten. We went to the landfill. So you will use whatever you want, Madara said, and began the go-ahead. We attacked each other first in taijutsu, where I was a little inferior, and I activated a 3 Tomoe Sharingan and I began to dominate and strike a little, and Obito also activated Sharingan and he began to strike, and it was clear that he was holding back. Don't hold back, I said. Obito began to attack faster. I decided to use, right, lightning. Soryukens, 30 shurikens flew at Obito, 3 of which were supposed to hit, but Obito became intangible and attacked me. I tried to hit him, but he became intangible. I quickly threw kunai at him, which flew through him, and I teleported to him and hit Obito on the back, which caused him to fly away. Hiration, Obito said. Standing up, my chuckled eye created blades of lightning and abruptly began to Otokat, and once touched his hand and she was paralyzed for a while, and began to fold the seals and created Kato, the Great Phoenix, I said, and he flew on the Obito, but he used a water wall, but the Phoenix did not crash into him, but flew around because I controlled him. When the Phoenix flew to Obito, he created a tsunami from which he managed to dodge. I started concentrating the lightning in my hand and sent him into the sky, and clouds began to thicken there and lightning flew from there, from which Obito barely dodged. He used a water tsunami and I used a fiery wall that I went to the tsunami and it all formed steam. I stopped procrastinating, and while he was doing nothing, I created a clone to accumulate the Sang chakra and hid it under the barrier. Obito fumbled in the Kamui, hit me and wanted to hit me, missed and got hit in the side from which he flew away. I threw a kunai at him and appeared next to him, but the blow went through him and I jumped back breathing heavily. When I felt that the clone had dissipated, I used Sang and entered the hermit solution and I sharply attacked Obito, but he tried to hit and feeling it dodged, and jumping off the ground I wanted to hit him, but I also missed. I realized that he was giving in. Don't give in, fight with full force. Sadie started attacking at full speed and Obito had to fight in full force and we struck back. I poured all the chakra into the last blow and ran to Obito, but I didn't have time to run as I fell after dispelling the hermit mode. Obito managed to catch me. Are you okay? Obito asked with concern in his voice. Everything is fine, a simple chakra exhaustion, I said, and lost consciousness. Take her to the bedroom and your chakra is also almost at 0, said Madara, who was watching the fight. Okay, Obito said, and carried her to her bedroom. When he was about to leave, he lost consciousness and fell next to Naruto. I woke up early in the morning and when I opened my eyes, Obito was lying next to me, hugging me and trying to get out of his embrace. Let go of Obito, I told him in his face, burning his skin with my breath, and he opened his eyes and saw in what position he was. Shy and fell off the bed. I'm sorry, I fainted yesterday and fell on your bed. Obito Weedy excused himself from the room, I said, threatening with a pillow. Maybe you'll admit your feelings to him. I like this, Uchiha, Ku said, and I blushed. And if he refuses, I'm afraid of it, I said. Don't worry, if he refuses you, I'll turn him out from the inside of his eyes in one place, Kurama said, and I laughed a little. Thank you, Ku, you are my best, I said, smiling. I know it without you, Ku said. Remembering yesterday, I remembered a kiss and involuntarily touched my lips and was distracted by a voice. Naruto, go eat, Madara shouted when I arrived. We were having breakfast in silence and Madara was watching with a smile. How are you? Did you get enough sleep? Madara said, and we blushed deeply and gave Obito an elbow under the ribs and he choked. I see that everything is fine. Madara said. Nothing good, I said, and puffed out my cheeks. Maybe I should confess to Naruto today, Obito thought to himself, just like Naruto. Okay, you can leave, today is your day off, Madara said and went to his room. Naruto, Obito said a little uncertainly. What? I asked. Let's take a little walk, I need to tell you something, he said, blushing slightly. Okay, I have to tell you something too, she said. And we left the cave. We walked in silence for a while and reached the statue of Madara and Hashirama in the Valley of Completion and sat on Madara's head. I need to confess something, We said at the same time let's go first. Obito said Yuri not the first. I replied maybe at the same time, Obito said, to which I nodded in agreement. Kurama was supporting both of them at that moment because he could feel people's emotions. I love you Obito / I love you Naruto, we both said, frozen in shock. It's true? I asked. Yes, Obito replied. I started to cry tears of joy and Obito kissed me on the lips and I responded to the kiss and broke it after 4 minutes due to lack of air. I'm happy, I said, hugging Obito. Me too, Obito said, and sat Naruto with his back to him, which made me blush a little. Lemon scene. YouTube opened a chat. Lemon left the chat. Naruto woke up in a great mood and in the arms of Obito. I blushed a little and began to wait for him to wake up, and at that time I remembered the events of last night and I entered the subconscious where Ku was lying. Kurama, why did you do that? I asked Ku when he woke up, and what didn't you like? Asked in a sarcastic voice. That's not the point, you just made him, it's somehow unfair, I said. I pushed him and after 10 minutes of kissing the pheromones disappeared and he controlled himself, said Ku, so he remembers everything. Okay thanks, I said, and came out of the subconscious after 5 minutes. Obito woke up, who saw that I was awake. Hello, he said with a warm smile and kissed me on the lips. Soon he remembered yesterday's lemon scene. Naruto, I'm sorry, I don't know what came over me yesterday. Obito defended himself. No need to apologize, it was Kurama who started playing with my pheromones. I said DC, but do you have any pain? It's just that you had some convulsions yesterday. Obito said everything is normal. I wanted to say okay and get up, but my body ached a little and I moaned softly that it hurt somewhere. Obito said worriedly it's alright, it's just that my body still hurts a little. I said I'm sorry, it's all my fault, even though I came to my senses, I didn't stop, Obito said, lowering his head. Nothing, it was nice for me, I said, and hugged him. Okay, but next time let's agree, Obito said, a little embarrassed. I nodded, got up a little, but immediately fell on the bed with a groan. Lie down, you need to rest, and get dressed, Obito said, and after looking at me, he turned away blushing. I looked at myself and saw that I was completely naked and also embarrassed that I took the clothes, a long Obito t-shirt and short shorts. What should I wear? Obito asked. You have a lot of clothes. I muttered. Okay, I'll come back later, Obito said, and went out to the kitchen where Madara was sitting. Hi Obito, did you admit it? Madara asked. Yes, and she agrees, Obito said, giving a thumbs up. I've always been rooting for you. Okay, sit down, and Naruto will come soon? Madara asked. She'll stay in bed tonight if she can, Obito said. Yeah. What happened? Madara asked. He didn't know what had happened. It's nothing, we just practiced for a long time, Obito said. Blushing. All right, Madara replied. I forgot to tell you about the Minato family. After a year of Kushina, 2 girls Ami and Miko were born. Kushina had been moving away from her daughter's death for a long time, and when she found out that she was alive and she was killed, she fell into depression from which the children helped to get out, and she forgave him for a long time. But she almost didn't talk to him for 2 months. As for the children, Menma is normal. When parents found out that he was proud of the name of Hokage, he was scolded postuyano, and he began to hold back and only in extreme cases said so. He often hangs out with clan children. Children began to be brought up more diligently so that it would not work out as with Naruto. The girls are sociable with everyone. They tried to make friends with Naruto once, but the Umbu pushed them away from her, saying that she would kill you. But they did not check and decided to try to make friends, but they were constantly blocked by the Umbu and they abandoned the idea. They grow up to be geniuses and they do everything quickly because they like to compete with each other, and unlike Menma, they do everything quickly. Because of this, he sometimes got mad, but after that he began to study hard and began to catch up with them. Menma's appearance is a copy of Naruto with 3 mustaches. Ami and Miko have red hair and no stripes on their cheeks. Ami has blue eyes and Mickey is purple with an overflow with blue. Like everything, a month has passed. Now we are sitting next to Madara, who was getting worse and worse. Please don't die, I said through tears. Don't worry, I've been living a lot and my time has come, Madara said. Madara, thank you very much, Obito said. Obito, don't let Naruto offend, and you Naruto watch Obito, Madara said with a smile, looking at them. Well, we both answered after my death, take away the eyes, and when Naruto wakes up, then transplant the eyes, and then burn the body, and return to Konoha, Madara said his last words and his breathing stopped. Madara, I started shaking him by the shoulders, but I was stopped by Obito's hand. He died, he said and hugged me, bloody tears flowed and Tomo began to twist into a pattern, and after 5 minutes I fell asleep in Obito's arms and he carried me to bed. In the morning I woke up a little depressed and Obito noticed it. Don't worry, everything will be fine. Don't cry or Madara will get upset, Obito said stroking his head, which made me calm down quickly. Thank you. By the way, why did my eyes hurt so much yesterday? I asked when I calmed down. Try to activate the Sharingan and send more chakra there, Obito said. Activated the Sharingan and gave a lot of chakra and the MSH, Manjikyu Sharingan, appeared. You have MS, I'll transplant your eye later, Obito said. Okay, maybe we'll take a walk, I asked. To which I received consent. We walked until evening in complete silence, and when we returned, Naruto, lie down on the operating table, I will transplant the Manjikyu of Madara to you, Obito said, pointing to the table. Okay, but is it really possible? He already has an eternal Manjek, I asked. These were Izuna's eyes, and I'll transplant an ordinary Manjikyu for you, Obito said, injecting sleeping pills and I fell asleep. I woke up 2 days later. Obito, I tried to call out in a slightly hoarse voice, and he appeared beside me. Here's some water, Obito said, holding out a glass, and I drank. How did everything go? I asked about the operation. Everything went well, you walk for 2 days with your eye closed and you can use it, Obito said. Well, I'll sleep then, I said and began to fall asleep. 2 days passed and I was able to open my eye, and when I fell a lot of chakra in the eye, a pattern appeared. Yes, everything went well, Obito said coming up. And what abilities does this eye have? I asked. You have an individual ability of your MS and MS Madara. He seems to be able to look into the future for 2 seconds, said Obito. Well, you burned Madara's body, I asked. I didn't want to today, Obito said. I'll go with you, I said and went to Madara's body. When we got there, it was painful for me to look at his body because he replaced my father like Obito. Obito folded the seals and blew out a fireball burning the body without leaving anything. Okay, we have to go get ready for Konoha soon, Obito said. Konoha, I whispered, don't worry. Now no one will touch you there anymore, Obito said, hugging me, and I cheered up and nodded. 2 days have passed. There are 2 people approaching Konoha. The first was a young man who had a spiral scar on the right side of his face. He was wearing a black raincoat under which there was a black vest, pants were black and shinobi sandals were black. Next to him was a white-haired girl with a mask on the floor of her face and a scar on her left eye. She was dressed in a black tight-fitting sleeveless turtleneck, and on her hands were black fingerless gloves. Pants were brown and shoes were also black. When they arrived at the gate, Izumo and Kotetsu were stopped. Who are you? Kotetsu asked. Hello Izumo. Kotetsu, it's me Naruto, haven't seen you for a long time, I greeted them and they looked closely. Really, you died a few years ago, Izumo said. Well, I survived, I said. You know them? Asked Obito's. They sometimes saved me, and at these words I got a little sad and looked at the village and felt the embrace. Don't worry, everything will be fine, said Obito hugging. Well, I said. And who is it with you? Izumo asked. I am Obito Uchiha. Obito introduced himself. This name reminds me of something, Kotetsu mused. I was a student of Minato, Obito said. That's right, you were supposed to die in the war, Kotetsu said. I was saved at the last moment, Obito said. Come on in. They both said okay, bye, I said, waving my hand. While we were walking through the village, everyone was staring at us because the newcomers. Some looked at me with disbelief because they remembered the demon who died. Maybe we'll have lunch. I haven't been to Ichiraku for a long time, I said. Oh, I remember this ramen. I agree, Obito said, and we headed there. When we got there, we saw visitors. It was Kakashi and Rin. He came up to them and put his hands on their shoulders. Can you order for us, Kakashi? Rin asked Obito, and the name turned. Obito? Kakashi asked. Yes, and this is Naruto, Obito said, pointing at me and they paid attention to me. Kakashi is your sister, Rin asked looking at me. I didn't have them. Kakashi said we can sit down. I asked yes. Sit down with me and Obito with Kakashi. Rin said well, we both said Obito how did you survive? Asked Kakashi saved me then, who won't talk, said Obito listen Naruto, aren't you the girl who died about 6 years ago? Rin asked yes. Obito saved me then, I said and made an order by the way Kakashi, are you and Rin dating? Asked Obito's, it's been 12 years, said Kakashi I could have come back earlier, but when I appeared in the village, I saw you, and decided not to bother you because I loved Rin, Obito said, and I gave him an elbow in the rib sorry, but I never loved you, Rin said, come on. Now I have Naruto, Obito said and I blushed a little and how long have you been dating? Rin asked 1 month, I said did you have something? Rin said in my ear and I blushed nothing, I turned my head away, so it was, Rin said what are you talking about? Asked Kakashi for nothing, Rin said here's your order, Tucci said thank you, we said together with Obito I took off the mask and started to eat and why do you wear a mask and where did you get this scar? Asked Kakashi Hobbit since childhood, I was constantly hiding, and the scar was inflicted on me by a ninja from this village. I said okay, sorry, said Kakashi Naruto we need to go to the Hokage, said Obito when we finished okay, bye, I said and waved to Rin and Kakashi and put on a mask. While we were walking to the residence, I saw those drunken shinobi, they were released, that they tried to kill me and hatred flared up in me and Obito noticed something happened to Naruto, he looked at those shinobi there is nothing, I said Obito activated the Sharingan and looked them in the eye and in Genjutsu he found out everything that happened, and Obito was angry what happened, I asked, noticing Sharingan and the anger emanating from him I just wanted to find out what they made you angry about, and I dug into them with the help of Genjutsu, Obito said guiltily looking away thank you for worrying about me, I said when we reached the Hokage's office, we knocked and heard, come in, and we did it hello Hokage-sama. Said Obito and Minato looked at us from behind the papers who are you? Minato asked I am Uchiha Obito. And this is Naruto Uzumaki, Obito said, and Minato was shocked you died, he said with disbelief and joy yes it is, we decided to come back, I said I'm glad you're back, I'll give you an apartment right now, said Minato looking for papers don't, we need a house in the Uchiha quarter, we will live together, he said, pulling me to him okay, take this document to Fugaku Uchiha, he is the head of the clan and will decide what to do with you, Minato said and at that moment Danzo bursts in me sensors. Felt the Kyubi chakra, did she really survive, if so, give it to the root, Danzo said without paying attention to anyone around here she is, and I will not give her to the root, she will decide for herself, Minato said, and Danzo turned around and looked at me with hatred where have you gone since you survived, you are the weapon of the village and should be here, Danzo said and was already reaching for my hand. But Obito's hand stopped him don't you dare touch her with your finger, you dirty old man, Obito said with anger in his voice and activated Manjikyu who are you, Danzo asked Uchiha Obito, now get out of here and don't get close to her, said Obito, throwing her hand away, how dare you, said Danzo and wanted to strike Obito, but I kicked Danzo in the ribs and he flew off, breaking through the wall. Don't you dare say that, or it will be bad. I said angrily and activated the Sharingan out of anger. Where did you get the Sharingan from? Minato asked and I put it away no matter, I said, and Danzo got up and went to the exit, you'll regret it, Danzo said through gritted teeth and left the office now he's going to eat all my brains, Minato sighed resignedly okay, we're off, I said, and we left and went to the Fugaku house in the Uchi quarter, when we entered the block we saw Itachi and Sasuke sorry. Don't tell me where the house of Fugaku Uchiha is, she asked when she approached them I'll take you to the house. This is my father, Itachi said thank you, Obito said by the way. This is the first time I've seen you in the village, Itachi asked we just arrived today, before that we were outside the village, Obito said and what's your name, Sasuke asked I am Naruto Uzumaki and this is Obito Uchiha, I said I remember a girl by that name, and I was told that she died. And I also heard about Obito Uchiha, Itachi said yes, we are considered dead, our teacher died because of this, we returned. Obito said, it's clear, I'm glad that you survived. Itachi said, and why are they considered dead? Sasuke asked. You don't need to know that yet. Itachi said, well, tell me. Sasuke sighed. No. Itachi answered, and Sasuke did not lag behind. I am a Jinchuriki because of this. The whole village hated me, and they tried to kill me, and they almost succeeded, and Obito saved me, I said, and Sasuke looked at me with regret. Sorry. He pressed on the patient. Sasuke said it was okay, I said. And who are the Jinchuriki? Sasuke asked. Didn't they tell you about it? I said, not believing. No. Answered Sasuke. Jinchuriki, these are people in whom Biju is sealed. The nine-tailed demon fox Kubi no Yoko is sealed in me. I said, it's clear. This is the fox that attacked Konoha. Sasuke asked. He did not attack Konoha. He was subdued. I said clearly. Sasuke said, and we reached home. A black-haired girl Mikoto came out of the house. Hi mom. They're going to the father. Itachi said, hi, my name is Mikoto, come on in. Mikoto said, and we went to the kitchen where Fugaku was sitting. Who is it? Fugaku asked. They came to you. Itachi said, am Obito Uchiha, and this is Naruto Uzumaki. Obito introduced us. They died a long time ago. Fugaku asked. No, we're alive. I replied, okay, why did you come? Fugaku asked. We want to buy a house in your neighborhood. Here's the document, Obito said, holding out a scroll. And when Fugaku got acquainted, well, next to us there is a 2-story house worth 1 million ri, said Fugaku. Okay. Obito said, and took the money out of Kamui and handed it to Fugaku. Okay, Itachi, take them, said Fugaku. Good, Itachi said. After we went to the house, when we arrived we stopped. This is your house, Itachi said, and left. After we entered the house where there was no, and we went to look around and settle in. When we finished we went into the living room and sat on the sofa, and Obito hugged me to him. I hope everything will be fine now. I told Yana to worry. I will protect you, said Obito. I don't doubt it, I said, and kissed him on the lips. Thank you for having me, Obito said, hugging me harder. I woke up before Obito and went to the shower. After staying there for 5 minutes and relaxing, I noticed how Obito entered. Obito came up from behind and hugged me, which made me shudder and a little embarrassed because I was naked. Hello, Obito said in my ear. Hi, what are you doing here? I said, and turned around and wrapped my arms around his neck. And what is not allowed? Obito asked. You just scared me, I said. And approaching his lips, I kissed him. The next 2 days passed quietly. Although the body still ached because of Obito's rudeness and my insatiability, and Kurama refused to treat, saying it was her own fault, she lost control over herself. Umbu came to me today and told me to come to the Hokage and informed Obito about it, but he knew my condition and decided to move with the help of Kamui. We appeared in the Hokage's office where the whole Namake's family was. Sorry, we're not interrupting, Obito asked, examining everyone. Oh, okay, Obito, be here too, Minato said. Minato. When Naruto and Obito turned out to be alive, and I was incredibly glad. And when Naruto treated with some anger like Obito, I was wary because I didn't understand what had happened. That I came home late and Kushina wanted to kill me, but she saw my joyful face and decided not to beat me. What so joyful happened? Is Danzo really dead? Kushina asked. He wouldn't have given me such a gift. I have even more joyful news, I said. So what? Kushina asked as she walked into the kitchen, and I followed her. You won't believe it, turns out Naruto is alive, I said. And Kushina's ladle fell out of her hands. What? Kushina asked. Naruto is alive. She was saved by Obito, who turns out to be alive too, I said, and Kushina burst into tears with a smile. I'm so glad, Kushina said, hugging me. I'm glad of that, too, I said, but I have a question brewing. Why they didn't come back earlier? Kushina asked. Most likely because of bad memories, and Obito kind of loved Rin before and he couldn't see her with Kakashi, and now they live together with Naruto. I said, are they really dating? Kushina asked. I think it's like this, I said. Promise that you will return her to the family, Kushina said, threatening with a frying pan. He can't, she'll decide for herself. I should at least hope that she would at least communicate with us. Today I felt the rage in Naruto's voice, and Obito directed at me, so I don't even know, I said, a little drooping. Don't worry, we must try to make her forgive us, Kushina said soothingly. I hope so, I was going to tell her who her parents are in 2 days when she settles down, I said. And where does she live? Asked Kushina. Fugaku said that in a 2-story building next to them in the Uchiha quarter, I said. And Kushina thought I remember this house. It's very expensive, Kushina asked. Yes, it costs like 1 million ri, I said, and Kushina choked. How much? Where did they get so much money from? It doesn't matter, I'll go to Mikoto, I need to tell her, Kushina said, and ran out of the house. And what should I do? Minato said softly. Hi, said Kushina, smiling kindly, and they didn't pay attention to it. So why did you call us, Although I'm thinking about what. Do you know who your parents are? Minato asked, and Obito put his hand on his shoulder. Yes, I know, I said, which shocked everyone. Mom, Dad, what are you talking about? Explain to us, the children asked. She's your older sister. We told you that on the day Menma was born, his sister died. It wasn't true. I sent her to the shelter because of the fox demon, Minato said, turning his head away. But when Ku was called a demon, I got a little angry. What, Dad, you're not kidding? The children said, delighted that they have an older sister, but on the other hand, the fact that her father handed her over to the orphanage, they were upset in it. And from whom did you find out? Asked Kushina, who did not know what to say before. From my first friend, Kyubi, I said calmly. What if he had deceived you and played on your emotions? Minato said. Firstly, he has been singing to a friend since he was 5 years old and I fully trust him. You can also ask Obito how good he is, I said. My parents' heads drooped because of them. She had no friends. You called someone good. I am an evil demon, said Ku from the subconscious. Yes, you are evil, cute and fluffy, I said, laughing a little to myself. But Kurama, thinking that it was useless to argue, did not answer. Obito, are you sure that the fox is calm? Kushina asked, not trusting the fox. Yes, I'm absolutely sure of it, although I understand why he should be furious because people locked him up and didn't try to understand. Obito said. Sorry, Kushina. And Minato said, by the way, Naruto don't want to go to Janini. Graduation is coming soon at the academy. Minato asked. No, I said maybe you'll go and find friends, not with me, with Kakashi and Rin, just to communicate, Obito said, and indeed, apart from them, I couldn't communicate normally at all. That I thought a little okay, just for the distribution of teams. I said okay, come to the academy at 9 o'clock in a week. Minato said. By the way, Naruto and you are dating Obito, Kushina said after looking at us and noticed a small hickey in the cheek area that was barely visible. Yes, said Obito, and Kushina has become prettier because Naruto and Obito have found their happiness. By the way, little sister, you should be the same age as me, but you look about 15 years old, Menma asked. I've been in the draft world for 4 years, I said. DC, Menma said. Menma, and you've changed a lot, I said, because I remembered how Menma often threw stones at me or sent curses. In what sense? Asked the sisters. Ask him later, I said. Okay, we're off, I said, and opened the door. And finally heard a quiet bye after the brother and sisters ran out of the office and Minato and Kushina discussed their business. Little sister, Miko said to catch up, and I stopped. What is it? I asked. I'm sorry we couldn't support you when you were being beaten, Ami said and bowed, followed by Mika. I know you were constantly driven away by the Umbu, I said. Naruto, excuse me for those curses and stones that I threw at you. Menma also bent down. Okay, I'll think about it and we can see each other sometimes, the girl said. Of course, I said, and started to leave. Okay, for now we went with Obito to Mount Hokage. Naruto can give Minato a chance, Obito said, sitting down in front of him with his back turned towards Obito. I also think to give, but to become a full-fledged family it will be harder, I said, leaning my back on Obito's chest. Everything will be fine. At least start communicating with the family a little and then it will become a habit, Obito said. Good, why do you always manage to convince me so easily? I said. Maybe you don't have the strength to argue anymore, because you recently spent all of them, Obito said in my ear, and I blushed a little remembering that day. It's all Ku, he did something, threw everything on him. Hey, why are you blaming everything on me, you fucker, said the furious Ku. Bet Kurama says now that he's not involved, Obito said. Well, maybe I'm completely to blame, I said. And Obito laughed softly. What are you laughing at? I pouted, offended. It's nothing, Obito said and then quietly added, we'll do it again later, and I started blushing. Why, what are you saying? I said, embarrassed. What didn't you like? Obito knew asked. Leave me alone, I said sharply and added, okay, let's go home, it's already evening and it's a little cold. Okay, Obito said, and with the help of Kamui we appeared at home and I went to bed. A week has passed since the conversation with the Namikaze family and today it is already necessary to go to the distribution. While I was walking to the academy, everyone looked at me hatefully because everyone found out that I survived and returned to Konoha after 2 days. When I reached the office at the academy, I knocked and entered. Hello, is there a distribution going on here? I asked, looking around the classroom. Yes. Are you Naruko Uzumaki? Iruka asked. Yes. I replied. Yes, there is a distribution here, we have just started, Iruka said and let me into the classroom where there were almost no seats, except for Sasuke's place. When I came up, I started a conversation. Can I sit down with you? I said near Sasuke's desk, and he looked at the entire audience and, not finding a place, looked at me. Okay, Sasuke said and I sat down next to him, and the girls glared at me angrily, but they were distracted by Iruka. So let's start the distribution by teams. Team number 7 Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and the named beeped. What Ino ate is pork, Sakura said. Can I continue? Iruka asked, to which he received a positive answer. So is the last participant Naruko Uzumaki, Kakashi Hataki's mentor, Iruka said, and Sakura looked at me angrily, and I hit my forehead on the desk because during the time spent in Konoha, I found out how Kakashi was late. Then I almost didn't listen, I just found out that my brother and sisters were on the same team and their mentor Kushina. After the name of the sensei teams, they began to take away the teams until ours stopped. After 30 minutes, Obito stumbles into the office, dragging Kakashi with him. Obito, what are you doing here? I asked. Kakashi dragged me, and I'm just bored, Obito said and let go of Kakashi, which caused him to fall and hit his head on the floor. Obito, what are you doing? Kakashi said. And Obito noticed that he hit himself to blame for not reacting. Obito said. Okay, Team 7, let's go to the roof. Kakashi said, getting up. Okay, go to the roof, Obito said and pulled on Kakashi's vest, who resisted but soon gave up. Soon we went up to the roof where Kakashi and Obito were sitting and we sat on the steps. So guys, name what you love and dislike, goals and dreams, Kakashi said. Yuri-sensei first, Sakura said. I'm Kakashi Hataki, what I love and dislike does not concern you like everything else, Kakashi said with a bored look. You didn't say anything, Sakura screamed. Then you start, Kakashi told Sakura. I'm Sakura Haruno, I love, a dreamy look at Sasuke, and I don't love Naruko, Sakura said, and a murderous aura went from Obito. Why don't you love me? We just met, I asked. Are you sure you want to take away my Sasuke-kun? Sakura said. I already have a boyfriend, and I don't need Sasuke, I said. So who is it? Sakura asked. It's me, Obito said, pointing to himself. What? I'm sorry, Sakura asked Obito, but she didn't even look at me. Okay, let's continue, Kakashi said and pointed at Sasuke. I am Sasuke Uchiha, I love my family and brother, I hate when girls run after me, the goal is to surpass my brother, Sasuke said with a brick face. Now Naruko, said Kakashi. Uzumaki Naruko, I love Obito and ramen, I don't like when the weak are offended, the goal is to surpass the teacher, I said, and at the last words I got a little sad with Obito. Who is your teacher? Sakura asked, not noticing the slightly sad face. I'll keep it a secret, I said. Okay, tomorrow at the 7th training ground and 7 o'clock, Kakashi said and was about to leave. Listen Kakashi, you're not lucky with Sakura, Obito said in his ear. That's right, Kakashi sighed resignedly after he disappeared into Shunshin. Okay Sasuke, Sakura, bye, let's go Obito, I said and called Obito. Yes, can we go somewhere? Obito asked. Let's go to Ichiraku, she said, and we went to Ichiraku, and when we had lunch there, we went home. The next day at 7:30 today I decided to come earlier and get to know the team normally. When I approached, Sakura flew up to me. Why are you late? Sakura asked, blushing with anger. Sensei doesn't care where he will be in 3 hours. Although maybe he will bring Obito, he seems to have gone somewhere, I said as I walked past her. Naruto, we can move away, we need to talk, Sakura said. Well, I said, and we moved away. Listen Naruto, have you been dating Obito for a long time? Sakura asked. It's been 1.5 months, I said. And how did you meet? Sakura asked. He saved me when I was dying, I said, and sometimes even thanked for it because I met Obito. I'm sorry, but we can be friends, Sakura translated the topic of conversation. Of course, I said, and Sakura was delighted. And where do you live? Sakura asked. There is a house in the Uchiha quarter. She gave the address. Why do you live in the Uchiha quarter? Sakura asked. I live with Obito, and he's an Uchiha and we bought a house there, I said. Okay, can you give me some advice? Sakura asked. Which one? About Sasuke? I asked, and she nodded. I do not know how to deal with other Uchiha, because Obito is different from them and does not hide his emotions. To begin with, stop praising and running after him and become stronger. Go to Irianini, or first find out if he loves anyone, because Uchiha are monogamous, and if he loves another then you don't have a chance. I said. DC, and I can definitely become an Irianin, and I nodded. My chakra is poisonous and I can harm others by trying to treat her, I said, but Sakura did not understand. Why is your chakra poisonous? Sakura asked. I am the Jinchuriki of the 9-tailed demon fox, I said, and Sakura was shocked. Who attacked Konoha? Sakura asked, and I nodded. By the way, Sakura, maybe you cut your hair, it will suit you, and they will interfere in battle, I said. Do you think? Why don't you cut yours off? Sakura asked, looking at my long hair. I have a high regeneration and I will be able to grow them quickly, and Obito forbids cutting them off even knowing about my regeneration. I said. Okay, thanks, but can you cut my hair? Sakura asked. And I took out a kunai and cut it, as in the canon. She looked into the reflection. It's really wonderful, Sakura said. Okay, let's go, I said, leaving for Sasuke. After Sakura caught up with me when we arrived, Sasuke didn't even pay attention, flying in his thoughts. Sasuke, why do all Uchi have a brick face and in the happy quarter, you won't find a girl like that, I said, taking him out of his thoughts. And what difference does it make to you? Sasuke asked. We're a team now, so we should know about each other. I said. Just want to be like a brother, and I don't need emotions for that. Sasuke said. Of course I'm sorry, but you're a fool, I said. What? Sasuke said. You don't have to be like your brother, you have to surpass him or you will forever remain in his shadow, and you need to hide your emotions at the right moments of the fight or during serious conversations, I said, and Sasuke listened attentively to me and then thought about the words thank you. Sasuke said. By the way, Naruto, you're older than us. Why were you put in the junior group? Sakura asked. Hokage offered me to become a genin in order to find friends, because I don't know many people in Konoha, and many people hate me, I said, and I should be the same age as you if I didn't go to the world of conscription. What's your call? Sakura asked. Wolves, I said. Aren't you afraid of them? Sakura asked. Why should I be afraid? I asked. Well, they can bite you and even eat you. Sakura said. They are reasonable and can talk, and do not rush at everyone, and they are soft when you stroke them, I said. Sakura said. And we sat for 15 minutes until Obito and Kakashi appeared over the horizon. Hello everyone, said, walking next to Kakashi. I was right after all, I said, getting up. Hello, we said in chorus. Hello everyone, today we will conduct a test, Kakashi said, taking out 2 bells. What kind of test? Sakura asked. Take away the bell. If you don't take it away, you will get into the academy, and only those who will have a bell will pass, Sensei said. And I realized what kind of test it was. I wanted to say something else, but she was interrupted. We started, Kakashi shouted, and Sasuke and Sakura hid and ran away, and I sent my clones. Well, let's get started, I want to finish as soon as possible, I said. I quickly attacked him in taijutsu, in which I won and struck, and Kakashi took off the bandage and a 3 Tomoe Sharingan appeared from there. It's interesting, Sharingan, I said, and opened my Sharingan, to which Kakashi was surprised because he didn't know I quickly attacked him and he could barely fight back. After all, experience decided an important role in the fight that he sometimes hit me, and I said, Righten, paired blades of lightning, I said, and lightning appeared in my hands formed into blades that were white, and this surprised him. I quickly attacked while we were fighting. I managed to hit his leg with the blade and it was paralyzed for a short time until he could not move one leg. Kunai and shurikens flew from one side and he managed to jump away, but a fireball flew at him. And he left as a substitute. Sakura and Sasuke jumped out from behind the bushes standing next to me. "Where is he?" Sakura asked. "He's in a tree," I said, pointing my finger at the tree from which he jumped. "Kakashi ran at us." Sasuke activated the Sharingan with one volume. I began to fold the seal and lightning began to spin around me and turned into a dragon. When he formed, he flew at Kakashi with great speed and touched his left side, and for which he was paralyzed. Sasuke blew out a fireball, and while Kakashi saw nothing, Sakura released kunai and shurikens are on the sides of the ball, and when Kakashi dodged to the right, he got hit by a throwing weapon and there were several scratches on him. I quickly ran up to him folding the seals and touched him, and the seals that paralyzed him spread on him, and I managed to take away bells and dismissed the technique. I lost, but which one of you will go to the academy? Kakashi asked, and I smiled slyly. "Shadow cloning of objects," I said, and a third bell appeared in my hand. I threw two to Sakura and Sasuke. "Okay, you've passed, oh." He started talking about teamwork and then left saying that he was going to the residence tomorrow. "Naruto, we couldn't have done it without you," Sakura said, coming up to me. "Come on," I said. And Sasuke came up to me. "Where did you get the Sharingan from?" Sasuke asked. Frowning. "A gift from the teacher, he was from the Uchi," I said. Sasuke chuckled and went on home as Sakura and Obito came up to me. "Naruto, now I feel sorry for you," Obito said, "and I didn't understand. You will now go on D-rank missions," Obito said, and I understood. "What? It can't be," I said, and Obito stroked his head. "Don't worry, if you go on long missions, we will see each other less, and I don't want that," Obito said, coming up and hugging. "Don't worry, I spend all my time with you anyway." I said, "Okay, let's go home," Obito said. 2 weeks have passed since I became a member of Team 7. We began to be close friends with Sakura and she stopped constantly running after Sasuke, and this surprised him, but he did not turn attention. Sakura signed up for Irionen's courses. Sasuke became a little more open than before and sometimes took part in the conversation. Thanks to this, teamwork in training was better. Now I am at a distant Konoha training ground to master the power of kurama, because it is difficult for me, because my chakra is different from others. It is pale blue, and because of this it is more difficult to mix it with the Kyubi chakra, and this chakra greatly affected the lightning, which made it 20% more destructive. Recently, Kurama began to notice the surveillance of me. It was difficult to detect them by emotions because they did not test them and the chakra was well hidden. Because of this I gave Obito a signal seal. When I finished, I was very tired and there were few chakras left. Because of this, I decided to go home. But 10 Umbu appeared in front of me. "Jinchuriki, you have to come with us," one of them said. "What for?" I said. "Preparing for battle." "We can't tell," said the same. "I'm not going with you," I said. They attacked me sharply and it was hard for me to dodge, and I decided to activate the Sharingan. And they were still able to do damage and I almost lost consciousness, and I decided to get the seal out of my pocket to send a signal. When I took out the seal, they attacked wanting to concentrate and I sent a little chakra before I passed out. I hoped that he would receive the signal, although it was unlikely that there was a negligible amount of chakra. When I lost consciousness, they took me and dragged me away from Konoha. 1 day has passed. Obito, the whole day there is no Naru. Because of this, I went to look all over the village, but she was not there, and I decided to go to the Hokage. Approaching the office, I unceremoniously entered. "Minato, Naruto is not in the village," I said when I entered, and after Minato's words turned pale. "What? Do you know where she went?" Minato asked. "She said she would go to train, but there is no whole village at the training grounds," I said. "Do you know any way to track her?" Minato asked, clenching his fists. "Recently, we noticed surveillance but could not find out who it was. Because of this, she gave me a seal if I needed help, but no signal came." I said. "Heck," he said and hit the table, which caused it to break. "Owl," Minato said, and Umbu appeared in the office. Gather a search party and comb through all of Konoha and beyond. Minato said hi Hokage-sama, said the owl and disappeared into Shunshin. I can't lose her again, Minato said. Thanks, I'll go, I said and left. I told this to Kakashi and Rin, and when they found out, they went to the Hokage to enroll in the search group, and they were allowed. For 3 days now, a large territory of the country of fire has not been found. That I haven't slept for 2 days, and even her teammates came to me and Sakura tried to comfort me. Naruko, I woke up with a terrible pain in my body. When I looked around, I was lying on the table and there were traces of injections on my body, and I entered the subconscious. Kurama, where am I? I asked Kurama, who was sleeping. You are in one of Danzo's lairs. Judging by the conversations, they have put some kind of experiment on you. They also suppressed part of my strength. Because of this I will not be able to treat you normally. What kind of experiment? I said something to do with Sharingan. Kurama said, do you know how I can get out? I asked. First, use the technique of concealment. Your chakra will last for a while, so you need to go fast, Kurama said. And I came out of the subconscious. Getting up from the table, I began to fold the seals and applied the concealment technique, and went through the corridors, spreading the seals for tracking and listening. When I came out it was very bright and it hit me in the eyes. I started running with all my might towards Konoha. When I moved away from the root base and my technique gradually began to dissipate. After 3 hours, I ran to the Konoha gate where Izumo, Kotetsu and Obito were. Naruko, the last thing I heard, and fainted. Obito, as always. I came to the gate hoping that Naruko would come. I've been standing for 3 hours and I'm about to leave, but Naruko was looking out from behind the trees and I quickly ran up to her. When I began to examine her, I was horrified. There were a lot of cuts and puncture holes that did not tighten. The seal on her stomach was purple and not blue as before. Izumo, Kotetsu, tell her she's back, and I'll take her to the hospital, I said and disappeared into Kamui, and Izumo ran to report to the Hokage that I showed up at the hospital with Naruko in my arms, and everyone in the hospital, seeing her, was scared by her appearance and at the same time looked with hatred. And I noticed it. She needs treatment, I said, and ran to look for a free ward and put it on the bed. Soon the nurses and Sakura, who was studying for Irionin, ran up. When Sakura saw Naruko's body, she was scared and almost threw up. Soon Minato came, who was very happy, but at the same time horrified. He abruptly gave the order to bring the best Irionins. After a while, her friends came who were worried about her, and I was in the ward all the time, and despite the orders of the nurses, I stayed, and they were measured. So for days passed. Soon Tsunade arrived in the village, who took up her treatment. Jiraiya also arrived, who examined the seal and removed it to its original state. Naruko, I woke up in a terrible condition. My throat was dry and it was hard to speak. V water, I croaked, and Obito woke up. Naruko, right now, Obito said and handed me a glass of water, and I drank it in one gulp and felt better. Where am I asked, because my eyes were a little cloudy. Yuri in Konoha Hospital. You don't have to worry, Obito said. Is it clear how long I've been lying? I asked. 4 days. Tsunade took over for you, and Jiraiya removed the suppressive seal, Obito said, and lifted me up. By the way, where have you been? Obito asked. At one of the root bases. They put some kind of experiment on me. I managed to escape with the help of a concealment seal and put some seals to trace the base. I said, well done, now rest, I'll call Tsunade, Obito said, and left the room. Soon Tsunade came in, who did an examination and said that in a week, after 3 days, she could be discharged under home care. To which Obito agreed, because he knew that she was hated, and you never know what. Friends and relatives came to me who asked about my condition. Minato came and found out where the base was located. Soon they created a detachment of Hunins who went to the base. They returned 2 days later, saying that Danzo was killed, and there was a clone of him in Nock that was made of blood and just didn't disappear. They also collected dirt on the elders, and what kind of experiment was conducted on me. It turns out that I was implanted with some improved Uchi genes, and now I can deactivate Sharingan, and now I didn't have a blind spot. The elders were executed and new Fugaku, Inoichi and Hayashi were installed. He seems to be the leader. Umbu Kornya was disbanded and went to rehabilitation because many were deprived of emotions. Some had to be put in prison because even after the printing was removed, the subordinates served Danzo. A week passed during which all these moments happened and I was lying at home all the time and Obito did not leave, and after 3 days of lying at home I was able to train thanks to Kurama. 2 weeks have passed. Thanks to Danzo's experiment, I was not only able to deactivate the Sharingan, but also the consumption of chakra for its use was reduced, but there is still a lot of comparison with Uchiha. Now there is a Team 7 in the office. Hokage-sama give a mission of rank C. I, as captain, agree, Kakashi said, and Minato examined everyone. Okay, your mission will be to accompany the bridge builder to the land of waves, Minato said, and at that moment Tazuna came in and breathed fumes from him. And these children will protect me. Looking at Sakura and Sasuke, this is a mission of rank C and there are no more difficult robbers there, I said, and Tazuna tensed up a little and I noticed it. Okay, tomorrow at 8 at the Konoha gate, Kakashi said and disappeared into Shunshin. Tazuna-san, I hope you'll be sober tomorrow, I said and released my key, which made everyone in the office shudder. Okay, Tazuna said nervously and left with Sakura and Sasuke. Hokage-sama, just in case, prepare a support team for the mission. He's obviously not telling me something, I said, and Minato somehow got Suddy would like you to call me father. Minato said dreamily, I won't be able to forgive you, at least for now. I've been through too much to rush with the words daddy or mommy, I said. And Minato nodded understandingly. Okay, I'll prepare the team, Minato said, and I left the office. When I got home, I saw Obito. Hi Obito, I said and walked up to him. Hi, by the way, you seem a little worried, Obito asked. We were given a C-rank mission, but the customer is not telling us something, so I asked the Hokage to send support in case of anything, I said, and Obito hugged me. Everything will be fine, you're strong, Obito said. I'm not a child, stop comforting me, I said. For me, you will be a child, although in some places you will be older than me, he grinned, and I blushed. Little Obito is a fool, I said, puffing out my cheeks, and Obito laughed. After all, sometimes you behave like a child, he said, and I fell asleep in his arms. The next day is 8 o'clock. I was approaching the gate where my team was standing. Hello everyone, I said, walking up to them. Hello, they answered in chorus. Okay, let's go, I said. And we moved out. A day later we came across a puddle and it seemed strange to me and I threw a kunai with 2 seals there and crumpled nukanins came out. Oh, you bitch, Gozu said, and the second examined Miyuri. White lightning, Meizu said, pointing his finger at me, and everyone looked at me except Kakashi, because Obito told him. Who is White Lightning? Sakura asked. She is very famous for saving the house and killing one of the mist swordsmen. Kisame, Gozu said, and everyone stared at me in surprise. Okay, I said and ran at them and they didn't have time to react as I put the seals of paralysis and tied them up. Why are you here? I asked. That we will not say, both said. And I began to beat the kunai against the stone, flooding it. If so, I said and put up a soundproof barrier. Then I took a kunai and started cutting Gozu's skin, from which he screamed a lot. Stop, I'll tell you, Mazu said when his partner lost consciousness from pain shock, after he told me about Gato and Tazuna, and I took off the barrier and approached them. Well, how did it go? Kakashi asked, looking at the blunt and bloody dagger. In general, they were ordered by Gato and they have to kill Tazuna. More shinobi are likely to meet, so this mission is not rank C or even B, I said. Okay, let's decide whether to continue the mission or not. Kakashi asked the team. I am for the continuation, I said. With Sasuke and Sakura was a little crumpled but agreed. But first I will send a letter for help, Kakashi said, calling Pack and sending him to the village. Okay, let's move out, I said. And we went. 1 day has passed. It's evening now and we're sitting around the campfire and waiting for reinforcements. I can feel the chakra nearby, I said, and the others were a little wary. Who is this? Kakashi asked. Most likely the support team. There are 4 of them, 1 Hunin and 3 Genin, I said. It's clear. Then we'll wait here, Kakashi said. After 20 minutes, Kushina's team landed in front of us. Hello everyone, the team said. Hello, we said. Do you want to eat? I asked everyone. Yes, everyone answered in chorus, and I printed out the food from the scrolls. Naruto, very tasty, the children shouted, and the Hunins enjoyed. An hour later I woke up abruptly and roused everyone. What happened? Kakashi asked. 2 chakras are approaching us, Jonin and Chunin, I said. Everyone was wary. After 15 minutes, the moms arrived. Hello everyone, give it to Tazan, Mummy said, and began to look at us. While Momochi Zabuza, another sword in my collection, I said, and the Kushina team stared incomprehensibly. Wow, this is the White Lightning itself and the copying ninja, and also the bloody habanero with her offspring. Yes, they will pay me a good sum for you, Zabuza said, laughing wildly. Naruto, are you really a White Lightning? Kushina asked in surprise, and I just nodded. Where is the 2ND? I asked, and Zabuza got a little tense because his insurance won't help. So you noticed? I thought he hides the chakra well, Zabuza said, and a kid in an Oinin mask appeared next to him. How did you find me? He asked. I'm a bit of a censor, I said. Okay, kids, protect Tazuna, we'll take Zabuza and his assistant, Kakashi said, and pointed at me and Kushina. The children got into defensive positions and I went to Haku. Haku threw senbons at me, but I easily dodged. I activated Sharingan with 3 volumes and attacked Haku. He barely dodged and he created an ice prison. I blew out a fireball, but the mirrors only melted a little. He started throwing senbons, and I barely dodged a lot of them. When about 10 senbons flew, I activated the Manjiko trajectory change ability and all senbons flew past me. I started forming a Chidori. When the Chidori formed, I ran to one of the mirrors and hit it because of what it broke, and I came out of there. After Haku came out of the mirrors, I quickly attacked him, and after the first blow put a Hiraition mark on him, I teleported to Haku with a Rasengan in my hand and hit him on the back, and he was imprinted into the ground. Kill me, I'm a bad weapon for Zabuza-san. Horse Haku, you are not a weapon, first of all you are a person. I Sadie looked in the direction of the fight with Zabuza. Kakashi already wanted to pierce him. I didn't have time to do anything as Haku and Kakashi took away the power of Chidori and punched both. After that Kakashi fell unconscious. After that, we moved towards the land of waves. When we arrived we were greeted by a tsunami and gave us rooms. After 2 days, Kakashi woke up and went with us to dinner, which was tense because of Inari's boring gaze. You can't beat Gato anyway. Why are you trying? Inari shouted and wanted to run away, but I stopped him. Inari, if I deliver a live carcass of Gato to you, then you will calm down, I said to Inari, as everyone else looked at me in bewilderment. You can't do that, Inari said, and ran away, and I turned to Tazuna. Do you know where Gato lives? I asked. Do you really want to go there? I won't let you go. If Obito finds out about it, he'll kill me. Kakashi said. It's okay, I've already come up with a plan, I said, grinning nastily under the mask. And what is it? Kakashi asked. I used Susanoo and hit him with all my strength, I said, and everyone was shocked except for Porridge, and he sighed heavily. Do you have a Mangekyo? Kushina asked. Yes, I said after activating it, and everyone was in complete shock. Okay, you can go, but be careful, Kakashi said, and Tazuna pointed in the direction of the mansion. By the way, Kakashi, can I get a sword in the collection? I asked. Already leaving the house. There is no Sumahara enough for you, Kakashi said. Can you show Samahara? Asked the Menma with puppy eyes. Okay, but if it bites, then blame yourself, I said. Some looked at me with incomprehension. What do you mean? Sasuke asked. It absorbs the chakra on impact, I said. Why don't you use it? Kushina asked. I prefer blades made of lightning, and I don't like big weapons, I said, and printed out the Samahata, and she started twitching her. It broke out of the Samahata and everyone was scared, but Menma came up and started touching, and after a minute, something is getting dark in my eyes, Menma said, and fainted. What about him? Mika asked him about his chakra depletion. I told you that she absorbs the chakra, I said, and sealed the satiated Samahata in a scroll. Okay, I'm off, I said, and went to the place where Tadzuna pointed. When I got there, I first climbed into Gato's office and climbed in and closed his mouth. Then I quietly crept around the mansion and put barriers on places where there is money. After I left the mansion, presenting myself to the bandits. Who else are you? One of them asked. I am your death, I said, and activated Manjiko after I used Susanoo. 15 meters tall, which was white, and paired swords flaunted the sides. When everyone saw Susanoo, they started running. I took out my swords and smashed the whole mansion and a number of people with one sword, and an earthquake appeared due to the shock wave. I put Susanoo away and went to seal the treasures. After sealing, I sealed Gato as well. I came home where everyone was ready to meet with questions. In Tezuna's house. And what is Susanoo? Tetsuna asked, and the children also looked with a question. You'll see soon. Let's go outside, Kakashi said. After 5 minutes, 15 meters of white light appeared to the north of the island. He struck with swords and hit the building, which caused shaking. Is it really Susanoo? Asked the children and Tezuna with the tsunami and Inari who came running. Yes, although he can make it 20 meters tall, Kakashi said, and everyone stood with their mouths open. I saw Itachi use Susanoo once, but he was forbidden to do it because he was going blind. Sasuke said she has an eternal Manjiko because of this, Kakashi said. Everyone went into the house. Soon Naruko came and provided a live Gato to the whole village. Naruko, and how did you get Manjiko? Itachi didn't tell me, Sasuke said, and I looked at him sadly. I hope you never wake up Mangekyo. I said why? Menma asked. To get a Manjikyu, you need the death of a loved one. I had a teacher. I said nothing else. Sasuke asked. No, I said, and went into the room and ran off. As soon as we arrived in Konoha and the bridge in the land of waves was named after me, when we reported on the mission, I came home where there was no Obito who was on missions. A week later, we were informed about the Chunin exam. Sasuke and I quickly agreed, but Sakura hesitated a little, but agreed. Today is the exam and I'm already approaching the academy where I see our team. Hello everyone, I said when I approached them. Hello, Sakura and Sasuke said. Let's go. Sasuke said. We entered the building and went up to the second floor where a bunch of genins crowded in front of the door with rationing 303. Sasuke and I noticed it right away and we started to leave, but we were stopped. Hey, where are you going? One of the crowd asked. This is the 203rd office, I said, and scattered the genjutsu, and everyone stared at the office. We were about to leave, but a kid in a green leotard came up to us. Hi, I'm Rock Lee. Sakura, let's meet, he said when he approached Sakura, and Sakura was stunned. No, I don't like you, Sakura said, and Lee was upset but immediately cheered up. Hey, you're Sasuke Uchiha, let's fight, Lee asked. I don't care about that, Sasuke said and started to leave, but Lee attacked him from behind. Calm down, otherwise you'll be in the hospital, I said, grabbing Lee's leg, and he himself was surprised because not everyone can do that. Let me fight him for Sakura asked. If not, I said, and threw him into the wall, and his teammates ran up to him. When we went into the office, everyone started looking at us and releasing their own, but I didn't pay attention to it. Naruko is to your right. Jinchuriki Shikaku, said the fox, and I looked in the direction of Garate's. Interesting, I said quietly, looking at Gaara and turning away. I sat down. Soon a gray-haired kid with glasses whose name was Kabuto came up to us. Are you not interested in information? Kabuto asked as he approached Lee's team and Maida. Sasuke wanted to say something else, but Lee interrupted him. Yes, Uzumaki Naruko, said Lee, and Kabuto began to look at the cards and listen. Naruko Uzumaki, a genin but a Chunin by training level, has 3 elements: lightning, water and wind. I returned to Konoha about 2 months ago. Before that I was an S-rank Nukenin named White Lightning, has a Manjek Sharingan, also a Jinchuriki Kubi. When Kabuto said all this, everyone's eyes popped out and started looking at me. And you know a lot about me. It's strange, I said, approaching Kabuto, releasing ki on him. Because of this he began to sweat. Simply, I wanted to say something to Kabuto, but Marino Ibiki interrupted him. Hello everyone, I'm Marino Ibiki, your examiner. After he started talking about the rules and we started writing. When I looked at the questions, I realized that these were questions for Chunin and answered in 10 minutes and then lay on the desk, which is why many were surprised because there was a killer key in the office. After 30 minutes, he started talking. Now the 10th question will sound. He started voicing the rules. After he called the rules, everyone trembled. Question 10 as in the canon, and Sakura was already quietly pulling her hand. I quickly opened the seals and a rain appeared over Marino's head. At first he did not understand why his head was getting wet and looked up and there was a cloud from where the rain was pouring, after a small rainbow appeared above his head. "And it suits you," I chuckled softly and everyone stared at me. "Did you do that?" Marino asked, and I turned my head away. "I don't know," I answered. Soon the rainbow disappeared, and many people got in a good mood and decided to stay. "Okay, you passed," Marino said, and Anko flew into the classroom. I am Mitarashi Anko, the examiner of the second stage. Ibiki lost his grip. She said after examining the entire class. "It's just that this year, one idiot lifted everyone's spirits," he said and looked at me and I turned my head away. "Do you remind me of someone?" Anko asked, looking at me. "Okay, tomorrow at 10 at the 44th training ground," Anko said and flew away. After that, everyone dispersed. When I woke up in the morning, I had a feeling of anxiety. After sealing things in a scroll, I went to the 44 landfills where all the participants had already gathered. "Greetings to everyone, the second exam will be held now," Anko continued to explain after we signed the papers, and we headed to the gate. While all this was happening, I felt a strong chakra in the crowd, and it was a grass girl, and she was clearly a Kage rank, and when we went into the tent for documents, I reported it and they said they would warn the Hokage. Soon we ran into the forest. While we were running, I noticed that we were being watched and I threw a kunai into a tree and one of them got out of there and I quickly attacked and he couldn't hold out. "Where is the scroll?" "And which one?" I asked the bound soundman. "He's with my team." "Earthen," said the soundman. "What'll we do?" Sasuke asked. "We'll wait for his teammates," I said, and after 30 minutes they came running. "Give me the scroll," I said. "Churtas too," said one of them and attacked, but he was weaker than the first. I had a couple of blows to neutralize and two gave up and gave the scroll of the earth. "Wow, and you didn't lie," I said, looking at them. "You can go." "Are we going straight to the tower?" Sakura asked. "Let's just 3 hours have passed since the exam started," I said. We went on and 2 hours later we met that girl from the grass. "Who are you?" I asked. "It doesn't matter," she said. "She summoned a snake that attacked me, but I used lightning blades to easily cut it. She quickly attacked me and it was quite difficult to fight back. I activated the Sharingan and started attacking. With the help of blades I cut off my hand, and he began to get out of his own body." "Orochimaru, why are you here?" I asked when he was completely out of his body. "I need Sasuke, although you're not bad either," he said. "What? Why do you need me?" asked Sasuke. "He needs a Sharingan," I said. "Run away from here, I won't be able to protect you and fight," I said, and created clones that took them away from the place of battle. "Okay, I'll catch up later," he said. He quickly attacked him in Kenjutsu and he pulled the Kusanagi out of his mouth, and when we clashed with swords, mine went through him thanks to the shape change. Thanks to this I was able to leave a strong cut on his chest. That I acted Manjek and attacked him, and thanks to Madara's abilities, I was able to look into the future for 2 seconds. Because of this, he had already changed his body 3 times and it pissed me off. He called the Manda and he already wanted to jump off it. I created a 20-meter Susanoo and with a sharp blow of the sword I hit the Manda and he disappeared in a cloud of smoke, and because of the blow I demolished a lot of trees and left Orochimaru without half of his body. And while Orochimaru did not stop, I struck a blow, but he managed to register and get out of the way, but his arm was torn off. He had little chakra left and he tried to leave with a callback, but failed because he was cut in half by Susanoo's sword, and he managed to recover for the last time. And after being dragged from chakra exhaustion, breathing heavily, I already wanted to finish off, but Umbu came with an examiner who saw Susanoo from afar who was smashing the forest. Everyone who saw Susanoo ran far away, and earth tremors emanated from the place of the battle, because of which many could not stand on their feet. When the examiner came up, I removed the Susanoo. "What happened here?" Anko asked, looking around the battlefield. "Orochimaru has come," I said, out of breath, because I spent about 40% of my chakra on the battle, and pointed to Orochimaru. "What?" Everyone looked to the side and saw there the already unconscious carcass of Orochimaru in the roots of the trees. "Well, we'll take care of him, just don't destroy the forest," Umbu said, and took Orochimaru. "Naruto, how are you?" asked Sakura, who was teleported to me with Sasuke by my clones. "Everything is fine," Sasuke asked when I had a trickle of blood from my eye. It's just that Susanoo is hard to control, I said. If such a destructive force, then how much does it take for this chakra? Sasuke asked. For 3 minutes of holding your entire chakra reserve somewhere, I said, and Sasuke was shocked. How many chakras do you have? Sasuke asked Uzumaki. And it's not for nothing that I spent 2 years increasing my chakra reserve, I said. Okay, send it, Sakura said. We immediately ran. Teams met along the way, but they didn't want to fight with us because they saw me leaning in Susanoo. Soon we reached the arena where we opened the scrolls and Iruka got out and examined us. Hello everyone, Naruto, didn't you use that white man? Iruka asked and I nodded. It was cool how you smashed everything within a radius of 1 kilometer. Iruka said. Okay, that's enough, I said. And Iruka stopped jumping around me, which means, he began to explain how in the canon, after we were sent to the rooms where we were located, soon the teams began to gather, and when they saw our team, they immediately avoided and bypassed, except for Kushina's team. They calmly communicated with us and it doubled everyone. Soon we were called together, where a lot of teams gathered. There was also a Kazekage and a Hokage, and there were also Hunin's mentors. That I greet you. To begin with, I will say that there are too many of you gathered, and for this we will have to hold a qualifying stage. After that, whispers and indignation began. Excuse me, can I explain everything? Gecko Hay-8 appeared in Shunshin Good, Minato said. After that, he began to tell the rules about the qualifying stage. So the first fight, Naruto Uzumaki versus. Everyone held their breath hoping that I would not get caught against them. Kiba Inuzuka. I give up. Kiba immediately shouted out. Okay, next fight. After that, fights began to be held, which I won't describe much. I'll just say who passed: Menma, Ami, Miko, Neji, Naruto, Sasuke, Gaara, Temari, Kankuro, Shikamaru, Shino passed. It seems like everyone, by the way, didn't break their leg because Naruto managed to stop Gaara. The third stage will take place in a month, Gecko said, and we parted. 1 month has passed since the end of the second stage. I went to the world of foxes and trained and returned 3 days before the exam, and when I came back I found out that Orochimaru had escaped from prison and also picked up several apostates. During the training, I was able to slightly improve my control over Susanoo. Because of this, he consumed a little less chakra, and was able to form separate parts of Susanoo, for example, a hand with a sword, or cover certain parts of the body with armor, or use it for a strike. Today is already the day of the third stage on Chunin. Now we are standing in the arena, and Kazekage and Hokage are sitting in the boxes, and people were sitting in the stands who were betting who would win. Greetings to all those gathered here. Now the third stage of the Chunin exam will be held, which I declare open, said Hokage, and then took the floor. Gecko. I am Gecko Hay-8, the examiner of the third stage, now explaining the rules. After he started explaining the rules and started calling fights, the first fight of Hyuga Neji against Naruto Uzumaki. After that, Neji shuddered because he saw her strength, but decided to fight, and after that everyone left the arena except those called in. I see you're a daredevil, I said. It's better to give up, otherwise it will be bad, said Neji in a slightly uncertain voice. Did you even hear yourself? Well, okay, I said, flexing my fists. All of you. Then let's get started, Gecko said. And we got into fighting positions, standing in the racks. I created swords from lightning. Nagi attacked and tried to hit, but I easily dodged and repelled blows. Having weakened my swords, I began to strike at Nagi, and the places where the swords fell were paralyzed and burns remained. Because of this he began to hit slower. I started folding the seals and shouted, Kato, the great fireball, and a 15 by 15 meter ball flew at Neji, and he used a katen, it's like a rotation technique, and scattered the fireball. Hyuga from the main branch were in shock, because this technique was from the main branch, and Neji from the side. Nagi attacked me and used 64 heaven strikes, and he began to strike and I parried them. I put my hand on Susanoo while using Njiko, and hit Neji in the stomach. Because of this, he flew into the wall, punching her. He started to come out covered in blood. He stood up again and ran at me. I got tired of it and I punched him in the stomach with all my might. He flew off again, breaking through the wall, and already did not get out of there. Because of this, the Doctors hurried. They said that his 5 ribs and spine were broken in some places, but he would be healthy in a month. When everyone heard this, they couldn't believe it because they had put a lot of money on it, even though they had heard that Naruto. The majority did not believe it, and those who bet on Naruto won a big jackpot. The winner is Naruto Uzumaki. The next fight is Dog no Temari against Nara Shikamaru, Gecko said, and the named ones entered the arena and I went to the stand. Shikamaru's fight against Temari was not as spectacular as Naruto's against Neji. In the end Shikamaru lured Temari into a trap and won, although he fainted after exhaustion. Sasuke Uchiha's next fight is against Dog no Gaara, Gecko said, and the named came out. Everyone in the stands held their breath because the fight was supposed to be spectacular. The fight was very spectacular, but when Sasuke ran to Gaara with Chidori, and broke through his sand defense, Gaara began to transform and then ran outside the arena, and after explosions thundered and feathers flew. Because of this, many fell asleep. Orochimaru appeared in the Kage boxes and stood opposite the Hokage with Kazekage, but Kazekage decided to leave and deal with other shinobi. Kazekage for Orochimaru. The battle of Orochimaru against Minato took place under the barrier, and was not in favor of Orochimaru because he had not yet recovered from the fight with Naruto, and he had enough strength to summon only 2 Hokage, because he would not have enough strength to control the Onesti. Minato. The fight was hard, but he won, and Orochimaru escaped with ninja sound. After that Minato went to the village to protect people. After the explosions thundered, Naruto, tried to go after Gaara, but the shinobi from the sound got in my way and tried to detain me and the teams from Konoha. I quickly overcame them and headed towards Gaara. I ran for 15 minutes and saw how Gaara had already completely transformed completely into Shikaku. I was thinking how to defeat him, and Vulba Shikaku found Gaara, who was sleeping. I created Susanoo at 20 meters and was the same height as Shikaku. Shikaku began to form the bomb of the tailed one, and I put my hands forward and threw the cover of the tailed one on my hands. When the bomb flew I got ready to restrain it. It crashed. It was difficult for me to restrain my hands, but I was able to push the bomb away and it crashed into Shikaku and he fell on his back. I quickly lay down on Shikaku, pinning him to the ground, got out of Susanoo and approached Gaara, hitting him on the head. Because of this, he woke up and Shikaku began to disappear. After Gaara flew to the ground, but I grabbed him. What for? Gaara asked. When I put him on the ground. I am the same as you. I also lived in hatred, but I found those who are dear to me and now I live for them. I said, but you're a Jinchuriki, don't you have a voice in your head that says you need to kill? Gaara asked. I've made friends with my tailed one. I said, really? Gaara asked incredulously, and I nodded and soon noticed her relatives Gaara and Temari will come to you soon. And I'll go, I said. I was about to leave. And you will become my friend? Gaara asked. Of course, I said, and ran to the village. When I entered the village there was devastation everywhere and I felt the chakra of the race and there were shinobi around it. When I ran there, I saw that there was no one left from the shinobi. Oh, someone else? Rasa asked. I quickly attacked him, striking blows, but all of them were beaten off by sand that he created, a spear of sand, and I failed to dodge and defended myself with a humanoid Susanoo. I formed a sword in my hand from Susanoo and attacked Russ. Because of Susanoo, my punches increased in strength and I managed to break through Rasa's defense, but he managed to create a new one. I formed a 5-meter Susanoo and with a quick blow struck at the protection of the race, and all the protection slept, and while he did not stop the sand, I struck with a quick blow and cut him in half. I cancelled Susanoo and felt that something was stuck in my shoulder, and looking there I saw sand. When I looked I saw Russ back, and his corpse turned out to be a sand clone. I quickly recoiled and was breathing heavily from the loss of blood. I started folding the seals and shouted, Kato the fiery dragon, and at dawn the dragon flew out of the fire, and he failed to dodge and almost all the sand fell into disrepair. I ran at him with Chidori in my hands and hit him, and the blow hit the chest area. When I punched his chest, I felt something sticking out in my left side and it was sand. Oh, you, I said and coughed up a clot. You will go to the grave with me, Rasa said and was about to finish me off, but Obito saved me. Oh, you bastard, Obito said, looking at the limp body of the race Naruto. Obito tried to shout, but I lost consciousness. Obito teleported with Kamui's help to the hospital with me in his arms. The doctors looked at me with hatred, but Tsunade took me and began to treat me. Obito thanked her and went to protect her in the village. 5 days have passed that I woke up in a very bad condition, because when I tried to move there was a strong pain in my body and I moaned softly. This woke up Obito, whom I just noticed. Naru, how are you? Obito asked, fussing around the bed. My body aches, I said with a smile to calm it down. Well, you scared me terribly when I saw your bloody body. I'm sorry that I arrived at the wrong time, he said and looked away. Don't worry, everything is fine, I said and smiled warmly. And Obito also, and he hugged me so much as if he was afraid to let go of Obito. It hurts, I said, moaning slightly in pain, and Obito recoiled. Sorry, Obito said, scratching his head. How many days have I been lying down? I asked. 5 days, although everyone thought that you would sleep for more than a week. Tsunade took care of you, Obito said. See, but what about the village? I asked. The village is slowly being rebuilt. By the way, when attacking the leaf, Orochimaru survived the battle with Minato. The race died thanks to you. The entire army of Sound and Sand was also destroyed, Obito said. It's clear who visited me. I asked. It's better not to talk about it. Almost half of the village came to you, Obito said, which shocked him, and he pointed to the left where he saw a bunch of flowers. And why did they come? I thought they hated me, I asked. Many residents have seen your battles against the Tailed and Kazekage. They consider you a hero, although now they throw envious glances at me because I'm your boyfriend, and a couple of people tried to steal that I would leave you, Obito said, and I laughed a little nervously at the last phrases. I see. Well, you hold on, I said, chuckling, and Obito looked offended. Okay, I'll call Tsunade, she'll do an examination, Obito said and left the room. Soon Tsunade came and began to inspect. After 1 hour, she said that in 1 week it would be possible to give it to a home regime where it would also lie for about a week, to which Obito agreed. After 3 hours, almost half of the village already knew that I had woken up. All my friends came to me, and during the day I was all exhausted because of this. As soon as everyone left, I fell asleep. I learned from Menma that he was going on a journey with Jiraiya, and I decided to go to the draft. Obito at first was reluctant to let go, but still allowed. A week later I was sent home where I lay for 6 days, and after I started training, soon Ami and Miko went to the draft. Sakura became a student of Tsunade, and Sasuke was trained by Shisui and Itachi with Kakashi. Now I'm standing at the landfill with Obito. Why don't you stay? Obito asked. No, I need to become stronger. I made a promise to Madara that I would become stronger than him. I want him to be proud of me. I said's already proud of you, Obito said with a smile, then came up and hugged. Thank you, Obito, I said, and kissed him on the lips, and after 3 minutes broke the kiss from lack of air. I'll be waiting for you, Obito said, letting go of his embrace. I'm going to miss you, I said, and pressed the callback seals. I appeared again in the same forest and went to the main one. When I arrived he started a conversation. Hello Naruto, Kuro said. Hello Kuro. I came for training for about 5 years, I said, and the fox was delighted. Okay, Kuro said, and called the fox who took me to my house, and my training started tomorrow. 5 years have passed in the world of conscription, almost 2 years have passed in real life. During this time, I was able to develop Susanoo to a completed form that was 60 meters high and wings appeared. And now I have completely improved control over Susanoo. Because of this, chakras are consumed less. I also expanded the chakra reserve, and now I have the volume of the third-tailed chakra. Also improved the control of the chakra, and thanks to this, the technician spent little chakra, although with a large margin. The costs of B rank and lower techniques were almost imperceptible. I'm 21 now. Externally, I grew up, but not much. About 172 centimeters, the figure changed slightly, only the chest grew to size 4, the body was thin but not much. Because of this, a slightly prez was visible. Today I'm already going home and came to Kuro. Hello Kuro, I'm already coming home, I said. Kuro got sad again. Okay Naru, just come back as soon as possible, Kuro said, and I disappeared into a white haze. I appeared, closer to the morning, about 6 o'clock. At the same training ground where I went into the world of conscription. namely in the backyard of our house with Obito. I once hid the chakra because I felt Obito and found out from the calm chakra that he was sleeping. That I quietly opened the door and went into the house. And good memories fell on me. I went to the second floor where our bedroom was. Opening the door to the bedroom, I saw Obito sleeping, who was only in his pants. Approaching him, I took off my mask and sat on him like on a horse, and he even disrespected. Obito, get up, I said, and Obito tried to get up, but he was pressed against the bed, and when Obito opened his eyes full of surprise, Naru, Obito said after examining the hole. Yes, I said, and reaching for his lips, I kissed him. I was waiting for you, Obito said, and turned me over so that I was under him and I was waiting, I said with a lascivious smile. Another lemon scene that YouTube will not allow to contemplate. A week has passed since returning to Konoha. During this time, Menma and Jiraiya had already arrived, and the team and I were also tested for abilities against Kakashi, where our team received the rank of a Chunin. The same exam was held for the Kushina team, and they also now have the rank of a Chunin. Ami and Mika studied under Tsunade and became combat medics. After 3 days, the Hokage called us, 7 and 11, except Sasuke, he is in the draft. And now we are already standing in the office where the Falcon is sitting next to Minato. And so your squad is given the task of rescuing Kazekage Gaara, Minato said. And there was bewilderment on my face in the sense of, is he a Kazekage? I asked, and Minato nodded. Who stole it? Menma asked Akatsuki. The message just came, Minato said. Akatsuki means, I said softly, and some heard it. Do you know something? Minato asked. A little. I know that they collect the tailed ones for the revival of the 10-tailed one, and the immersion of the world in Genjutsu, I said, and everyone had shock on their face. And Minato was the first to leave. In the legends it was said that 10 tails will destroy the world, Minato said. And how do you know that? Kakashi asked. It's a secret, I said. Okay, go to Sunu, they'll tell you everything there, Minato said. In an hour at the gate, Kakashi said, and disappeared into Shunshin and I into Hirashin. I appeared at home where I was. Obito, hi Naru, why did you call Hokage? Obito asked. Hello, Kazekage kidnapped Akatsuki. Need to get there as soon as possible. You were there? I asked. Yes, I was able to teleport you there when we leave. Obito skied. An hour later at the Konoha gate, I said, and began to seal things. An hour later everyone was at the gate including Obito. And why is Obito here? Sakura asked. He will send us to Suna. I don't have a mark there, I said, and Obito began to examine us. It will be difficult to move so many people. Obito said, are you really such a weakling? I said teasingly. No, shouted Obito, and activated Manjiko and we spun in a funnel, and when we opened our eyes we were in the sun not far from the gates of the village. Wow, cool, Sakura and Menma said, and the others didn't say anything. Okay, Obito, will you stay with us? I asked. No, then you will send them by Hirashin, Obito said, and disappeared into Kamui. Okay, let's go, I said, and we moved to the gate where the guards were standing. Are you help from Konoha? The guard asked. Yes, Kakashi replied. Come with me, the guard said, and we walked along the dilapidated Suna. Soon we came to the hospital where there were 2 elders and one of them attacked Kakashi. Did the White Fang come to certain death himself? Said the grandmother. Attacking whose is not a White Fang, said the old man, I don't remember his name, and Chia looked closely. I am sorry, I'm his son, I said, and the grandmother calmed down. Do you have a medic? Chia asked. I answered. The third help Kankuro, he is poisoned by Sasori's poison, and pointed to the ward opposite them. After that, they went to the ward and started treatment, which took about 4 hours, and when Kankuro woke up, are you all right? What happened? Sakura asked. I went after Gaara, and got into a fight with Akatsuki. I managed to tear off a piece of cloth from Sasori's cloak, Kankuro said, and pulled out the cloth. Give it to me, I said, and they gave me a cloth. That I sat in the lotus position and began to accumulate the Saint Chakra, and after 7 minutes I entered the wolf mode of Sannin, to which everyone was surprised at my image. You look cool, Ami said. Yeah, Miko agreed. I took the cloth and started sniffing. Sakura and Miko stay in the village. If we come back in a bad condition, then treat us, I said, and Miko wanted to say something, but when faced with my menacing gaze, she refused. Okay, let's move out now, I said. All right, the others said. After that, We moved out by the smell that we already ran for about 3 hours until we came across a boulder with seals that covered the cave. After studying the seals, I reported I'll find the seals and you get ready to tear them off, I said, and started scanning the area and soon found the seals and sent 3 of them there and told them to wait for the signal. Come on, I said, and the seals abruptly broke. I soaked my hand with chakra and hit the stone, which caused it to shatter. After that we ran into the cave where I saw holograms and Deidara with Sasori who were on Geto Maso's finger. Sasori detain them and take away Deidara. Kazekage, said the hologram with Rinnegan. After that, I started creating a Shuriken Rasen to destroy Geto Maso. When the technique was created, I launched into Geto Maso, but it disappeared and this technician exploded, hitting Sasori who came out of the puppet. The devil, Sasori shouted. Okay, Sasori, I flew, Deidara said, and picked up Gaara and flew out of the cave. All for the blonde, I said, and everyone obeyed. Are you too brave? Sasori asked. I just know my capabilities, I said, and activated the Sharingan. I attacked Sasori who barely dodged and attacked with dolls that didn't touch me. I quickly destroyed the dolls, because of which he became angry and called 100 dolls, and sent them to me. I used Kato, the great fiery destruction, and fire began to fly out of my mouth, which consumed all the dolls, and he called another doll that I did not notice because of the fire. The doll entered the ground and jumped out in front of me, and I jumped back, but he slashed the blade across my arm. After that, I destroyed the doll with a Rasengan and ran to Sasori, and with a blow I pierced his heart and he fell dead. After that, my eyes started to get cloudy. Ku, help me, I asked mentally. You should feel better, but you don't need medical help for long, Kurama said. Thank you, I said when I could already see normally. I came out of the cave and ran towards the explosions, where I saw a battered team, and Deidara was in the air. Do you know his weaknesses? I asked when I was next to him, and they looked at me and saw a lilac cut on my hand. There's poison in you, Ami said. Anyway, so what? I asked. His weakness is lightning, but we can't get him, Kakashi said. I made it up, I said. I ran in the direction of the departing Deidara and began to fold the seals, and shouted, Raiten, chakrams of lightning, and 10 chakrams began to circle around me. I sent them to Deidara, who barely dodged them, and one hit a bird and Deidara dropped it, and when he wanted to pick it up, new chakrams flew into him from they hit him, paralyzing him, and he fell to the ground hitting hard into this. Right away I grabbed Gaara and put him under a tree. I ran to his immobilized body, and I pierced his throat with a kunai. After 1 minute, the teams ran up and saw me sealing Deidara's body. Oh, you're at, I said. I fell to the ground. Naruko, Kushina ran up and peered into the pale face. Ami, help Naruko, Kakashi said, and she ran up to me and started scanning. The poison is very strong. It is necessary to go to Sakura, only she can cope, Ami said. I will be able to move you to the hospital. I put a mark there, Menma said. Come on, Kakashi said, and everyone touched Menma, who sent everyone to Suna's hospital. When we arrived at the hospital, we saw shock on their faces, but when they looked at me, they immediately allocated a ward to which Sakura came running, who began treatment, and soon an advisor came running. What are you doing here? The old man asked. Naruko was poisoned, Kakashi said. Many people ran to meet you, and are probably looking for you, the old man said, and Menma teleported back where he met everyone and sent them back to the village. All up Tarvel back, said Menma, appearing. Naruko is fine, she will wake up soon, Sakura said, and everyone's weight fell off their shoulders. Okay, Kakashi said, and everyone left the ward and went to a dedicated hotel. 2 days passed, and when I woke up, everyone was happy and Gaara came, who showered thanks, because the team said that she saved him. After 3 days we moved to Konoha, where we went to the residence where Minato was with Obito, who gave a report on Migia. When we started reporting on Migia and the poison, Minato and Obito got alarmed and tried to cut a circle around me, but they were calmed down by Ki Kushina. Soon we went home. A month passed. During this time the days passed calmly, until Shikamaru woke up with the team to capture Akatsuki, in which Asuma died, and 3 days later the funeral took place, and Shikamaru swore to revenge before the grave. A week later, the location of the immortal couple was revealed. And Team 7 and Team Shikamaru were sent there. We ran for a long time until we spotted 2 chakra lights and ran towards them. When we arrived there, Kakuzu and Haiden were standing there, and we landed in front of them. About the shinobi from Konoha, Kakuzu said, "I'll send you to Jashin," Haiden said, and was about to attack. But Kakuzu stopped him. "That white-haired Jinchuriki, don't you dare kill her," Kakuzu said. "This bitch. She killed Sasori with Deidara," Haiden said. "Yes, be careful," Zetsu said. "That she is very strong," Kakuzu said. "It doesn't matter," Haiden said. "I'll take Haiden and you take care of him," Shika said, and ran to Haiden, taking him to the forest. "I won't describe his fight since everything was according to the canon. Can I deal with him? I heard that he fought against Hashirama," I said. "Okay, but we'll be on the safe side," Kakashi said. "I decided to fight seriously and created a clone that began to accumulate the Saint Chakra. And at that time activated the Sharingan with 3 volumes. I created lightning blades and attacked Kakuzu. Thanks to the Sharingan, I could easily dodge and soon pierced my chest and heart, but he did not react to this, and behind his back I felt movements, and masked dolls came out from behind me who attacked me. Soon one of the bodies released lightning bolts at me, and I failed to dodge, and at that time the clone dissipated and I switched to Sannin mode. And I sang to dodge. I attacked one of the dolls, and when I pierced her with Chidori she was able to move, and Chut Neparila me. I created a Raisin Shuriken and threw it towards the dolls, and the technique destroyed 3 dolls and 1 managed to leave but was left without half of the body that recovered. I began to fold the seal and the Kakuzu doll began to repeat, and we used Kato, the great fiery destruction, and our lights collided, but after a couple of seconds my fire began to absorb it and flew at the doll, destroying it and hitting Kakuzu himself a little. The last doll wielding the Suiton quickly approached and began to attack, and quickly used the Suiton tsunami. A huge amount of water flew at me and activated. I created the first stage of Susanoo, and when the water stopped flowing, I saw Kakuzu who had shortness of breath from using a large amount of chakra. Because of this, the control over the dolls was bad. I began to fold the seals and said, "Kato," a fiery tornado, and a fiery whirlwind flew at the doll, which involved him and fried him. And when the technique ended, only the burnt thread and singed parts of the mask were visible. I created a Raisin Shuriken and ran at Kakuzu who tried to dodge, but it didn't help and he fell under the technique, and the technique hit him, increased, and thousands of needles pierced him and destroyed the system chakra circulation, and he died, finally, and he's a difficult opponent, I said with a shortness of breath. Everyone was a little shocked, because after such a battle, at least I should have fallen to the ground, and I had shortness of breath because of 40% of the spent chakra. "Hello everyone," said Shika coming out of the forest. "Oh, you did it too," I said. "And you doubted," said Shika. "Okay, let's go back," Kakashi said, and we headed to Konoha. In Konoha, we were told that they had captured the 7th and 8th tail, and most likely they would come for me soon. After the report was given, we went home, and when we left the residence, explosions were heard. We jumped on the residence and began to look around. Pain was hovering over Konoha and there were his bodies from below, which destroyed Konoha. "Where are the Jinchuriki?" Pain shouted and began to rise stronger. "If you don't give up the Jinchuriki, then Konoha will be wiped off the face of the earth." I was about to go, but my teammates stopped me. "You can't Naru. If he captures you, then the 10-tailed one will be reborn," Sasuke said. "According to you, I have to watch people die," I said, and ran. Pain already wanted to destroy Konoha, but I appeared from below. "Wait, I'm here," I said, and Pain came down. "I decided to go out myself," Pain said with a haughty look. "Let's get away from Konoha," I said, looking at the destroyed buildings. "I don't care," Pain said, and I took her by the shoulder and teleported out of Konoha, and he summoned his bodies. "Let's get started," said Pain. Attacked with his bodies. I created blades from lightning and fell. I gave in to him and I didn't understand why, and Kurama said that they had a common vision, and I first destroyed the body of the armament and after the body of the summoning, and attacked further. When I wanted to destroy the main body, the armament body attacked me. I didn't understand anything at first, and saw how the summoning body was resurrected. I attacked the resurrection body, but I was thrown away by the Shinra Tensei, and when I landed, Missiles were directed at me, which I easily dodged, but when they flew past me, they exploded, burning my back. That I activated Manjiko and wanted to attack the resurrection body, but on me a volley of missiles poured out, at which I changed the trajectory and they flew back, or into other bodies, and so the body of the armament was destroyed. Thanks to the ability to look into the future, I was able to dodge the gravitational attack and approaching the resurrection body destroyed by Rasengan. The summoning body summoned 3 animals with a height of 20 meters, and I used a Susanoo of 30 meters. The bears pounced on me and could not penetrate the armor, only to scratch, and I took off the bird's head with a quick blow, and it evaporated, then tried to hit the rhinoceros, but I was rejected by the gravitational attack, and changed the trajectory of the attack, because of which I hit the ground, and there were cracks. While the sword was in the ground, I punched the rhinoceros into the ground and it evaporated. Having recreated the sword in my hand, I struck at the dog and took off her head. After I looked down where I saw the bodies, and I struck the ground, which caused it to crack at the seams, and formed a large crater in which lay the flattened body of the summoning and the body of the soul stretching. When I saw that the main body wanted to escape, I used a fiery destruction from Susanoo covering a huge area, and a minute later I saw Yahiko's burned body. That I put away the Susanoo and went to the body. How to find the main one? I asked. Stick this pin in yourself and you will feel it, thanks to Sanon's regime, Ku said. And I did so, and I felt where he was. I started on my way, but a voice stopped me. Wait, where are you going? Minato asked. I mean, it's all his bodies, I said, pointing to the bodies. I'm with you. Minato said. No, I said, looking at Minato seriously, and still he agreed. I ran to that place and saw a huge tree, and when I entered there I didn't see anyone. I stuck the pin in myself again and no longer felt for him. Do you know where he is? I asked. Most likely escaped, said Ku, and I headed to Konoha. Arriving in Konoha, I saw a bunch of people thanking me and giving me a lift. After I returned home due to the fact that there was little chakra, because after the battle with Kakuza, not so much was restored. A month later, Konoha began to work hard on shinobi, because there is likely to be a war. The Hokage has already received a notification about the meeting of the 5 Kage. Now we are standing in the Hokage's office. I want you to become my escort to the meeting of the 5th Kage. It will be held in the land of iron, Minato said in a tired voice. Okay, I can move to the border with the Iron Country. Obito said. Okay, in 3 days at 10 at the main gate then, Minato said, and we went out. Obito, Madara said that he could be resurrected and subdued. I said when we left the office. Yes, we have to do something about Nagato. Obito said he need to get stronger, I said, and Obito had an idea. I heard that the Jinchuriki of the 8-tailed is friends with his tailed, and completely controls him. Obito said, is there really someone else? I said yes, and we need to find out how he started controlling it. Obito said he have already completely removed the seal from the cage, but Kurama says it is necessary to overcome its dark part, I said, and Obito thought we'll find out from the wreckage. Obito said, and we went on. 3 days have passed and we are already going to the border with the country of iron. Okay, come on, Obito, Minato said, and we disappeared into Kamui. We appeared in a snowy place. We have to hurry at the border, otherwise we'll freeze. Obito said. Wait, I'll be able to warm you up, I said, and opened the seals after touching Minato with Obito. What did you do? Minato asked. I placed a little of the Kurama chakra. It will circulate through you. It should come down for 3 hours. After removing the circulation system will ache, but it is tolerable. I said. All right, let's go, Obito said, and we set off. Soon we arrived at the gates of the capital, and we were let through because of Kage. Soon we came to the residence, and after knocking we entered. When we entered there were all Kage. Hello everyone, Minato said, and sat down at the table, then gestured for us to go up to the balcony, and we did it. I Mifune open the meeting of the 5 Kage. Open, Mifune said, and looked at the wreckage. Wreckage, you can start. We need to do something with Akatsuki. They have almost all Biju, said Wreckage, and hit the table. I know the purpose of Akatsuki, Minato said, and everyone stared at him. And what are the goals? Oanoki asked. The rebirth of the 10-tailed, and the immersion of the world in the eternal Tsukuyomi, Minato said, and everyone was stunned. If this is true, Then we need to assemble an alliance. Gaara said we agree. Everyone Sadie suggest hiding the Jinchuriki of the ninth tail, also Kazekage. You also need to be hidden because you also have a Biju chakra, said Raikage. We cannot do this. They will have a major role in the war. Without their strength we will not be able to cope. Minato said, excuse me, can I ask Raikage Dano a question? I said and jumped off the balcony. Who are you? Raikage asked. Am Jinchuriki Kubi. I said okay, ask, said Raikage. As I know Killer Bee subdued the power of the tailed one, I'm interested in how he did it, I said. He defeated the dark part of the tailed one, on Turtle Island, said Raikage. I'd like to go there. I said I would like that too. Minato rocks good, said Raikage. Sorry to barge in, said Zetsu, who appeared in the middle of the hall. Akatsuki declares war. He will pass in a month, said Zetsu. Disappeared. Okay, Naruto, will you go with Raikage? Minato asked. If you want, you can come with me, said Raikage. Okay, I said and followed Raikage. And Minato and Obito disappeared into Kamui. By the way, where is B? I asked. He's on Turtle Island right now, Raikage said. Where is it located? I asked. The closest place to it is the ruined village of the Whirlpool, from which to go north, said Raikage. I can move to the Whirlpool village right away, I said. Well, Grant you will show her the way, said Raikage to his escort. Good Raikage-sama, said Darui. Then I took him by the shoulder and we disappeared in a white flash. Is she really a white lightning? Said Raikage. After they went their way we appeared at the Whirlpool Island. So now we need to cross the sea. I know which way we should go, he said and was about to go, but I stopped him. We'll fly, stay close, I said, and activated the Mangekyo and created a completed Susanoo with wings. What? Is it really Susanoo? From where? He said and looked me in the eye. Okay, point the way, I said, and he pointed the way with his hand. Then I took off and flew, controlling the wings. We had already flown to the island, and when we landed on the island we were immediately surrounded. Who are you? The guard asked. I'm Darui. It's the Jinchuriki of the nine-tailed. Raikage-sama ordered her to cope with Biju. Darui said. All right, he said, and he led the way behind the dome. You'll have to meet Yami first, Darui said. Don't. I've met him before, I said, and shock was visible on his face. Is there another one? Darui asked. Yes, there is a place in my appeal. I also found it in the village of the Whirlpool, but it was completely destroyed, I said. Then immediately to the main thing, he said and led me. Soon we met. Hi, B said. Hello, it's Jinchuriki. She has to overcome the dark part of the Kubi, Darui said, and Bai began to examine me and stretched out his fist and we bumped fists. First you need to deal with Yami, B said and was about to lead. I've already met him, I said. Okay, then let's go, B said. Soon we reached a temple and entered the golden room. Sit in the lotus position and enter the subconscious. When I entered the subconscious I saw a dark red fox. Hello, Kurama, I said, and Kurama grinned angrily. I won't give you the power just like that, said the fox. Okay, let's fight, I said. He activated the Mangekyo, and he immediately attacked with a paw, but the same paw hit him in the face, which made him mad. He tried to attack, but missed, and began to collect the tailed bomb and fired it, to which I activated Susanoo, and when the bomb flew into Susanoo, it cracked, but not critically. I brought a blow, and hit Kurama on the back with a sword, and because of the force of the blow, he was impressed and tried to get up, but I created a giant Rasen Shuriken, and hit him and he couldn't move. I removed Susanoo and started pulling the chakra on myself, and I felt all the hatred and wanted to quit, but I continued and soon I came to my senses and tried to take away the chakra, but it didn't work out because I was faster. When I absorbed the chakra completely, it was squeezed out like a lemon. After that I came out of my subconscious and saw Bai, who was looking at me in surprise. You coped so quickly, and the power from you is huge, Bai said, and I began to examine myself, and I had a golden veil on me. Okay, we need to get used to it as soon as possible, I said. Naruto is calling you Gyuki, Bai said. Okay, I said, and we bumped fists. I appeared in the subconscious and there were Kurama, Gyuki and me with Bihi. Gyuki, haven't seen you for a long time. Kurama said. Hi Kurama, I want to give a part of Naruto's power. I assume that she is a child from the prophecy, said Gyuki. I think so too, Kurama said. And what is the prophecy? I asked. The prophecy says that a child will be born on earth who will make friends with all the tailed ones and bring peace to these lands. Kurama said okay. Naruto, hold out your fist, said Gyuki, and we bumped fists, after which he gave me part of his strength. Thank you, I said, and came out of my subconscious. Are you in the list now? I asked Beta. I said well, good luck, B said, and we bumped fists. I teleported to Konoha, to the Hokage's office. When I appeared in the office, Minato was surprised. Naruto, are you done? Asked Minato. Yes, I said, and activated the golden cover, and Minato was very surprised. I wonder how strong you've become, although there are no people in the village who can resist you. Minato said. I'm not strong enough to surpass the teacher yet, I said, and Minato choked. Who is your teacher? Asked Minato. You'll see in the war, his beloved must be resurrected, I said, and became a little sad. Okay, I won't ask any more, Minato said. Okay, I'm off, I said, and left the office. 1 month has passed, the war has already started, and I'm already running to the battlefield, but a voice stops me. Naruto, this is Inoichi. Inoichi Sadie, something wrong? I asked. Yes, imposters appeared in the camps. No one can detect them by the chakra, we tried all the ways, only emotions remained, they also resurrected some. Kage, Inoichi said. Okay, I'll send the clones, I said. After he disconnected, I created about 10 clones and sent them to the camps, and I continued on my way. When I arrived at Suna's territory, I saw Gaara fighting with her father, and both Tsuchikage among themselves. There was also a raikage that no one could seal. That I ran towards the raikage, and when I arrived, and you are quite strong in chakra reserve, I hope you will seal me, said raikage. I quickly attacked him with lightning blades, and by inflicting cuts, the body was recovering. That I quickly attacked him and turned on the kurama mod, was able to cut several pieces, and until he recovered, he was quickly sealed. The first is ready, I said, and looked at the Kage fights where they won. Suddenly I felt a familiar chakra and turned around. It was Madara, and Nagato was next to me, and Obito from Kamui appeared next to me. Is it really true? I whispered, and Madara noticed us. Oh, hello Naru, how are you with Obito? Madara said and smiled, and all the troops that were nearby were in shock. Everything's fine, Grandpa, I said, and stuck my finger out. Ho, Madara wanted to say something, but his body wouldn't listen. So you found a way to subdue me, Madara? Nagato said. Yes, now kill them, Nagato said. Madara tried to resist, but he couldn't even say damn. Obito swore and got into a fighting position, and I also. Obito, let me fight, I said, and Obito wanted to say something, but when he saw my determined look, he moved away. Okay, Obito Sadie activated Mangekyo and Kurama mode, attacked Madara. That we met in a taijutsu in which I won, and managed to cut it, but it was restored. I received minor wounds that quickly regenerated. Madara took out a scythe and a gunbai, and I created swords from lightning, and sent the clone to collect the Sung Chakra. In Kenjutsu, we did not stand up to each other. He swung a scythe and I failed to get away, and when the clone dissipated by passing the Sung Chakra, I entered the hermit mode and quickly dodged. Under the regime of the hermit, I began to win in Kenjutsu. Madara activated Susanoo just like me with the fox avatar. We collided swords and cracks began to appear on the ground and it began to collapse. Fortunately the shinobi managed to escape. Madara constantly lost in punches and Susanoo tormented him, because the power of Kurama and Susanoo worked wonders. Here's another blow I struck at Madara and he took it on his left hand, which caused it to fly away, and Madara pierced my Susanoo with a blade and hit me, which caused me to get a huge wound on my stomach, which barely healed, but I lost consciousness. I woke up in the subconscious where an old man was floating on Gudadams. Hello, Uzumaki Naruto, Hagoromo said. Are you Hagoromo Otsutsuki? I asked because Kurama was telling me, after he snapped his fingers and Kurama appeared behind me. What, father? Kurama asked. Yes. I have come to give the power of Ashura, Hagoromo said. So she is still the reincarnation of Ashura, said the fox. Since I am the reincarnation of Ashura, who is Indra? I asked. This is Sasuke, Hagoromo said. Really? I felt some kind of connection between us, but I didn't understand. I said okay, come to me, I'll give you a part of my and Ashura's strength, Hagoromo said, and when he came up, he broke the seals and put his hand to his forehead. after I felt a strong pain in my eye and body, but it quickly stopped well. What does this power give me? Asked Yatvoi. The chakra reserve is increased by 2 times. Also now you have a connection with all Biju, also Rinnegan, said Hagoromo pointing to the eye, and I looked at the reflection in the water, and there I saw a Rinnegan, without Tomo. Thank you, old man, I said, and Kurama gave me a blow on the head and started sending curses. Okay, it's time for you, I've already transferred the power to Sasuke, Hagoromo said, and began to disappear, and I opened my eyes. When I opened my eyes, there was a Madara above me who was going to strike, but I was faster and took a bow, after I cut off my hand with swords, but it was registered that I tried to find Nagato by chakra, and next to him I felt the chakra of Sasuke, who apparently fought with Nagato. While I was doing this, Madara tried to attack, but stopped abruptly, then broke the seal and said, Edo Tensei, cancellation. All control fell off, now I have full strength. Edo Tensei was improved, so the will was suppressed. Madara said. Madara, is that you? I said incredulously. He smiled. Yes, we need to deal with Nagato, although no, we have already dealt with him, Madara said, and I felt that Nagato's chakra was fading if he died. We need to find Zetsu, I said, and Madara and I ran to the place where we felt Zetsu's chakra. When we arrived, there was a Zetsu standing near which there were Kage, including Hashirama and Tobirama with Hiruzen, who tried to detain him. When they saw that I came, they were happy, but when they saw Madara, they tensed up. Don't worry, he won't do anything to you, I said. I'll help you, Madara said, and they nodded incredulously. Naruto, I will give you the knowledge of how to use Chibaku Tensei, Madara said, and looked into my eyes and got into Genjutsu, where he showed the technique. I quickly ran up to Zetsu and directed the chakra into his eye, said Chibaku Tensei, and he began to be drawn into the technique, and a minute later he was imprisoned in a stone that went to the moon. Grandfather, we coped, I said, looking at Madara. I am young now, so I'm not your grandfather, Madara said, smiling. Buddy, it's good to see you, Hashirama said, running up. I am glad to see you too, Madara said, and they shook hands. Naru, in the sense of grandfather, Minato asked. This is my teacher, I said, which shocked many. I see, Minato said, recovering from the shock. By the way, you need to resurrect your grandfather, I said, because Madara, although he cancelled Edo Tensei, was dead. Madara thought, listen to Naruto, he can be resurrected, but it will take a lot of vital energy, although you have more than enough of it, Kurama said. And how? I asked, and the fox showed the seal's grandfather. I know how to resurrect you, I said, and many stared at me. Hope not a divine resurrection, Madara said, because he knew this technique exactly, I said, and Madara began to worry. And what kind of technique is this? Minato asked. Madara, resurrection technique, in which a person gives life energy to the resurrection of the deceased, Madara said. And Minato stared at me worriedly. Don't worry, I met with Rikudo and he gave me a lot of life energy, so I can resurrect, I said. Are you sure about that? Hashirama asked. Yes, I said. Naruto, you have enough vital energy to resurrect the deceased Hokage, but they will live about 30 years, as well as Madara, for this transfer less energy, Kurama said. Kurama says that I can resurrect you, but you will live for about 30 years, I said, looking at Kage and Madara. Aren't you going to die? Tobirama asked. No, but I will spend all the vital energy that Hagoromo gave, I said. Okay, they Sadies. Everyone ready? I asked, looking at them. Yes, they answered in chorus. The technique of divine resurrection, I said, and the cracks in Kage's body disappeared. Such a pleasant feeling, Madara said. At that moment, Obito appeared. What's going on here? Looking at the lively Kage. I resurrected them, I said. What are you? Although what to expect from you, Obito said. By the way, Naruto forgot to say congratulations, Madara said. And I stared at him in incomprehension. What do you mean? I asked. You're pregnant, Madara said. Obito flew up to me and hugged me, muttering something. Obito let go and crush. I wanted to say something else, but Minato and Madara fell on me. Congratulations, everyone shouted to Kage. Thank you, but let's go back to the village, I said. That's the end of it.